What is up, Chad? I've got Lord B and Lady B here with me, and I am trying out the vertical thing for tonight. I already don't like it, so I apologize in advance.
It looks so weird on my computer. Like it's just like the middle part of the screen. It's really funny. I'm not even in the thing.
So we're doing giving it a shot tonight, and so there's both streams are running though. So the normal landscape one and the regrettable portrait one is also running at the same time. So come find the normal one and we'll get going. Speaking of going, let's go, Goodwin.
Let's go.
He loves the vertical videos. It's his favorite thing, I can tell.
Yeah. It very much reminds me of my clogged space toilet right now.
I should ask Goodwin before I do things like that, because he's probably already experimented with it a little bit, and so it would be wise of me maybe, but I just click the button. So here
I mean, it when they rolled it out a while back, there were a bunch of people that were trying it, and I was like, don't do that. You're splitting your audience, and that was kind of what happened. Everybody got away from it.
Oh, Vex is already saying it was mid as fuck. That's fine. That's good. If you want, come on and talk to us about it, Vex. Please come join us. You got the link. I know you do. Speaking of people with the link, we got Jake Martin. What's up? Welcome back.
My good jerks. What's up?
Well, these are the friendly jerks on Wednesday. We're slightly more friendly, the same kind of jerks, but yeah.
I mean, I hope not.
It is still us, but we are like, people here are like, and some of them are in love with this movie, Project Hail Mary, and some of us are in like with this movie. Good one. But we're gonna get into this because I've been waiting to talk about this one for a couple of weeks. I know other people have too. I finally saw it a week and a half ago, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. Even though I went in with high expectations, it did meet them. And before we go any further, I want to make sure that I say that it's because Ryan Gosling's Canadian that this whole thing even worked. And
that unassuming demeanor.
Yeah. And that's why Blade Runner was so much better, the sequel, than the original, because of Ryan Gosling, Denis Villeneuve. So two Canadians teaming up, right, to save Blade Runner.
And I mean, imagine the money they saved on the practical effects because his eye sliding down off of his face was just natural, so they didn't have to do any makeup for that at all.
Oh, you know what? If you want a movie to be a hit, put a Ryan in it from Canada. You're going to be good. That's my advice. Hollywood. Let's go. Ryu, what is up? Evening, Zax. My family and myself are well. What's up, Tina? Good to see you. Tina Bojan. Love it. Hey, Tina. Here are you. No highs to me, but that's okay. Hello, love it. Always fun to see you here and George, on the panels.
You're too hyper to be on our laps, George. Get out. Get out, George. Okay. Sorry.
Our boy Cajun got a haircut.
Ooh.
Did he?
Looking fresh, smooth. Yeah. Got that Mr. Clean thing going on.
Aerodynamic.
Yeah. It's this could be a copyright. Will, what do you think?
I gave him permission. It's fine.
You did? He's got the beard too. Like everything is you, essentially. Put sunglasses on.
Dark Will.
Will franchising. He was able to buy the franchise from Will. It was very exciting.
Nice. All right. Cajun. Who else? We got Goodwin. Hello. Jurassic Warrior. What's up, Hale? Hail to you, dude. Who else is AJ? What up? What up, AJ? AJ, if you want to come and talk about this movie you've never seen and you probably never will see, you're always welcome to come on and tell us about.
Well, first of all, shout out to AJ for being cast as Snape in the new Warner Brothers.
What an underdog!
I never would have expected it.
Snape.
Really works.
That music video.
The man's on the come up.
Well deserved too.
Yeah, I think so.
Good work. Waylon Bocephus, what's up? Howdy. Good to see you, Waylon. And Vex. Vex is coming in hot.
I know. Vex. I'm like, come on. I'm like going our hot takes. We couldn't even get Nadia to see this, so it's like.
That's kind of like, what is with that? Is it like a chick thing? They don't want to see a movie about space? Too much math?
She said like the theaters are really crappy, and I'm like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, I don't know.
Thanks, kid.
Kind of like that everywhere.
This was a refreshing trip to the theater for me.
Yeah.
Normally, I don't really give a damn, but like, I'm glad that I saw this at a theater. instead of just waiting for it to come to streaming.
Yeah, that was cool.
100%.
Has to be seen that way. Might go again, actually. Take my oldest who's back now from Japan. So what's up, Joshy?
Yoshi!
Love to see Joshy
Absolutely.
in person someday. Cross my fingers. Sammy, what's up? Sammy, oh, internet is out. I'm watching on my phone. All right, cool, dude. You get your internet back up, take a blue pill. If it fires up again later on, you can come join us whenever you want. So, but thanks for being in the chat. And I think that's Soul Assassin. What's up? The king of the mods, Soul Assassin, who anticipates your streaming link needs before you even have the thought. He's already
He's good.
Boosh. Bush.
Yeah, Bush.
It's a funny avatar.
Mighty Boosh.
All right. We have a film to discuss, and if we have time later, I want to do a tier list of space movies, not like cheesy ones, that actual space movies, not Star Trek, not Star Wars, anything else. There's some lists online I found, but
we including Kubrick speaking of the moon landing. I
was just gonna say, like the Stanley Kubrick classic from 1968. Ooh.
Well, in the seminal Eddie Murphy work, Pluto Nash, I think belongs on any space tier list.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely.
And Space Jam, which
naturally
one of the best to ever do it.
Yeah.
But not
Space
Space Jam 2.
in the name, for fuck's sake. Come on.
Not Space Jam.
Space Jam 2 is a pretender to the throne. That's not going to work.
No.
LeBron will never be Jordan.
No.
All right. So space movies. There's a lot of them to talk about, but first, the important one. We're still waiting for you, Vex. So Bald Head Confederation. Yes. Let's get in. Let's get on board. I want to hear first from the bees. Will,
the bees. Why don't you start, babe? I think you're like this movie's like strongest adherents.
This movie was phenomenal, and if there have been 3 good movies of the last 6 years, being Godzilla -1, Top Gun Maverick, and this one, it is absolutely on that level. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It was phenomenal in every aspect of making a film.
I thought, like, we got out of the theater and we're like, man, I need a cigarette. That was like a good movie. It was fun.
Vexy. Hello.
She comes.
Vex did come on.
Continue your thoughts and hello. You have me for 15 minutes.
Hi, Vex.
Okay, let's go.
I walked out of that movie feeling like I was 14 again. Oh my God, movies are good again. What happened? I flashed back to the early 2000s.
Wow. You sent me a message and my audio's off.
We can hear you.
I can hear you.
I'm hearing myself
we can
twice.
hear you.
That's not good.
I don't know, man.
Goddamn vertical stream.
Yeah.
Fucking vertical stream.
Did you put both earbuds in one ear?
I don't know what I did.
Did you accidentally crush your earbuds between your shoulders?
Yeah, that could have happened.
That can happen. Oh no, socks. Okay, so go on, babe. Keep describing it. Like he's got thoughts. Like
this is one of those movies where I genuinely don't even know where somebody starts nitpicking it. It was that solid all the way around. One of the rare instances, I think, where the movie was better than the book. However, the book does improve your experience in the movie. It is a intelligent movie. It does not treat you like a moron. You enjoy it more if you pay attention and if you listen to it. Has an alien that, for the most part, actually feels and acts alien. However, is also extremely relatable and is, you feel it when things happen to the alien.
I like Rocky.
Even though he's a rock.
Yes, even though he is a rock.
I'm back. I'm fixed. It was Twitter It was
Oh.
X. Yeah,
Twitter.
it was X. All right, we're back. This I don't like this Can I stop this vertical thing, guys? Anyone know? Can I
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
How do I do that?
I don't know.
Talk amongst yourselves while I fix this.
It's it should be in your settings somewhere, or you can just delete it on the main user screen.
There it is.
Okay.
Kill it with fire.
Balefire.
Yeah, Balefire. Remove. Can I remove just one?
Will, are you have you laid yours out? Because I'm gonna hand it to Vex since she only has 15 minutes.
Yes, please go to Vex.
Oh yeah. And I got the book. I'm only on chapter 3, so I can't think. Yeah, go for it, Vex. Like, tell us what you think.
Okay, I just thought this was a average movie at best. That's all. Everything this movie did, Sunshine did infinitely better 20 years ago. Ryan Gosling is fine. I had no problem with him or his performance. I like him quite a bit as an actor. I don't know. This movie just felt a little bit all over the place and rushed in the first act. I feel like it didn't spend enough time establishing a good foundation for why things were the way they were, like the book did at the very least. I didn't like the book, by the way. I thought it was awfully written. I didn't like Weir's writing style at all.
Goddamn, Vex.
People are telling me that The Martian is much better, so I'll give that a try. But it was a struggle to get through Project Hail Mary.
It's very colloquial, I'll say that.
I guess I'm just not a fan of like dumping your main character's internal dialogue as a writing style. I wasn't a huge fan of that. Like there were moments where I kind of wanted because there's so many things that you can do with space travel, like thematically and to develop your character. And it felt like because of the style it was written in, you just get kind of like a monologue dump rather than anything really meaningful or with depth for the character. And I found it hard to resonate with him as well, or even root for him. I was able to root for Rocky, no problem. I liked Rocky quite a bit more in the book than I did the movie, just because Rocky wasn't really demoted to a sidekick like he was in the movie. I felt like he had more autonomy, and he had like it was nice in the novel because everything that Grace was missing in his thinking, Rocky already had thought of. So in this such a rare predicament where they're the last two people around this sun or whatever, they were able to balance each other out and find a solution. And the movie severely reduces that and just turns him into a fun sidekick. Like I thought that entire instance where Ryland has like the camera on him, he's like, I have like a roommate now and he's bossing me around. I was like, I mean, it's funny if you want to just add comedy every 10 minutes, which is what this movie tried to really do, but it demotes Rocky, and I wasn't a huge fan of that. I wasn't a fan of some of like the space stuff they did in the movie, like that whole little like when Rocky follows Ryland's ship. I was like, guys, that's not how that would work. And then when they get to what was the planet called where they go to get the amoeba things?
Adrian.
Yeah.
Clog.
I really want to see the 4-hour cut of this movie because I feel like I would probably like it a lot better because there is a lot of material that the book covers. Like I will give it that. So, and I feel like they had to condense so much down. That's probably where most of my problems lie. Hi, Gooch.
Hey, Gooch.
Oh, Scooch.
But yeah, I just I wasn't a huge fan. Like Ryland didn't seem to have much character development, which I found kind of problematic. Like his character development was dependent on jokes. The first 30 minutes as I was watching it, I was rewriting it in my head because it felt like they had skipped so many things that were really core to building tension, to building stakes, to making your main characters super relatable. A problem I had with the book and the movie catches on to as well is that too much time is spent with Rocky. You rush through all of this science and all of this setup, and all of these kind of like potential moral consequences to set up basically what is Brock and his Geodude in space just for that story. So
yeah, I feel like the science was like the worst part of this. Like we're not gonna like. There's a lot like and he goes through some stuff on the beginning of the book where he's like doing numbers in his head and stuff, and I'm just like, but we're gonna deal with like what was it like stun phages or whatever they were called, and I'm just like, this is kind of like, okay, I don't.
I guess
The astrophage is a
Astrophage,
fantasy
there we go.
conceit. Yeah.
Of all the criticisms of this movie, the one I get the least is it had a hard time building stakes.
So like finish your thought. Sorry, finish your thought.
Like I feel like you knew within like 7 or 8 minutes of the movie beginning that the stakes are human life on Earth.
That's actually the movie stakes. That's a plot thing that happens. The real stakes are about Grace, and his motivations don't make a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
What's up, Gooch?
That's the problem.
Shippy.
Oh, they mention, oh, by the way, humanity's going to survive. And he's like, no, bro, I want to stay here with my kids. To what? Watch them die?
Yeah, like at least like the credit I can give the book, even though I didn't like it, is that Grace kind of like, as much as he uses like his students as a reason not to sacrifice himself at the very end. I guess spoilers for the movie for those that haven't read it.
Spoilers are fine. We're going for spoilers. Yeah.
At least in the book, it was like he really cared about the fate of what would happen to these children and what it would be like. He found it really hard to picture like the fact that their lives would basically end at 30 and their entire life would be lived basically within the pain of knowing that they would die very early on. And they kind of eliminate that. And I did like that about Grace's character in the novel because it did humanize him quite a bit. This is a guy that didn't have any family. He didn't have a partner. He didn't even have a pet, but at least he had this. And it seemed like it was pretty fundamental to grounding him and giving him purpose. And to take that out and then to just kind of mold his motivations for the film to whatever carries the plot forward so that we get the dramatic scene in Adrian and we get this great scene with Rocky, bleeding out liquid silver or whatever.
That was cool.
Right. Yeah. But I think Ryland is a very poorly established character. And yeah, there's the obvious stakes of Earth is going to end, but that's a plot device, not stakes building. So it makes it harder for like a view, at least in my case, to relate to Ryland or even root him on. Like I really didn't care about his plight whatsoever because again, the moments that the movie spends on him like singularly is just him making jokes and really corny jokes, like Marvel humor jokes to a certain extent.
It did feel Marvel quippy at times.
I mean, I struggle to accept. Oh, I wasn't rooting for Ryland to succeed. Like you weren't rooting for humanity to continue to exist. Like
rooting for humanity and rooting for Ryland are two very different things.
They're not. I promise you, they are not. They are one and the same in this movie.
They're not, because again,
yes, they are.
That they said a word at the beginning and that you read the book and you're filling in blanks is great. That's not what happens in the movie.
Yes,
they mention it. Send it. Oh, by the way, why do they only send one ship? They have 33 years, and this bitch apparently has unlimited resources because she says, "Oh, the problem isn't making the ship; it's fueling it," and they already know how to, so they can just keep rolling them out.
Because they could, first of all, they tried, but they could only grow so much astrophage at a time. They wanted to get a ship up and going as soon as they had enough astrophage.
Yes, why aren't there more going? It's essentially, oh, he's the only one, and that's it. And then everybody sat on their hands and just hope.
Well, to answer your question, actually, Goodwin, because I can kind of answer this, because the film does heavily skate over this. It's that they couldn't build. It was a last minute when they managed to figure out how to make the astrophage.
Yeah, I know the book answers it differently than the film.
Oh no, I'm just going through what the film. I'm just going with what the film says, right? So it's really rushed what happens, but in a very, very small offshoot of dialogue, they say that it would take about 11 years to get there. And that it was also a struggle to build everyone and like to build a ship and to get everyone coordinated. And then you add that on top of the fact that, and this is another thing they skate over, but there's a very small pool of people that are physically equipped to actually make that entire journey and survive it. Another thing that's really hastily thrown away in one line of dialogue very quickly.
Wasn't there a second ship though and it blew up, right?
They don't even acknowledge in the movie the coma gene.
Right.
So
Right. That's the book is doing some of the heavy lifting for why certain decisions are made in
the explanation that they give in the film for why it was the only ship was that growing the astrophage took time, and that basically every month or whatever that they didn't get a ship up and going, millions of people were going to die.
No, that explains why they're in a rush to get the first one up. That doesn't explain why they're not running them in parallel, because the woman very specifically says, "Oh, the ship's not the problem. The fuel is."
She does.
Yes, the fuel is the astrophage.
Right. So again, why don't they have a bunch of ships? And they're like, all right, we have enough. Launch one. Keep growing them.
Jay already telling everyone they're wrong. Oh,
yes,
God.
he is.
Here we go.
Welcome, Maddie. Thanks for coming
What's
on.
up, man?
Hello.
I want to say quick before we lose Vex that I don't know if this answered the question or not in the film, but I never believed this was the only ship. I thought this was the first ship, and you would tell everyone on that first ship they're the only ship because you don't want people who are going to bail out halfway through or think someone else is coming. You want everyone to think you are the only hope we've got.
You're the last one. Yeah. Again,
that's how I would psychologically put these people on that, especially a guy who didn't want to go in the first place. And for him, I took it to be he was a guy who already flew too close to the sun in his career already, quote unquote.
So to speak.
And he got burned, so he didn't feel comfortable enough, confident enough in himself to say, "I can do this."
But that's scared. Like,
yeah, so that's the problem. That's the problem, Zach. I think that would have been a much better motivation had they made it clear that basically the weight of the responsibility of all of humanity is going to depend on me. Fuck that, I'm out, right? Because I can't handle it. But
that's what he said. That's why he was running away. Like,
no, he doesn't. He says no. What he says is, "Oh, I'm scared of dying, and
that is what he
I'm
says.
gonna die alone." That happens in the film. In the book, it's much more about, "Oh, I'm worried about the kids and all that." All right, I'm not exactly enamored with that.
I feel like that's
not the best.
Like reason to be scared, and it's very realistic.
You mean that you're going to die one way or the other because you're going to die?
He knows he's going to die.
I didn't love it when I read it in the book, and I didn't love it when I saw it in the movie. I understand that there was an arc, but it just was like, so the guy's a coward. Like,
yes.
I know.
But then he becomes not a coward.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
But he gets forced into not being a coward. They have to drug him and put him on the ship, so he doesn't really have an arc.
Like
him being willing to go out on the spaceship to collect the Talmiba in order to
he does have an arc
back.
Yes, that's not him overcoming his fear, though. That's him being forced into a situation where he needs to make a choice. He's not really overcoming everything. Like
he could definitely
choose not to. I mean, like what did that girl scientist say? I want to shoot myself up with morphine and shit. Why didn't he just do that if he was such a coward?
Yeah,
and also look, I think the whole point, at least in the movie, I don't remember this being as clear in the book, but at least in the movie, his hero arc is completed when he goes to rescue Rocky.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
that is an arc moment for him.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, like he's reluctant and he has to rise to the occasion. I mean, that's pretty much how it plays out.
Right. So what the movie actually portrays is him becoming incredibly selfish, because in the movie he doesn't have any family, he doesn't have any friends. He's just gonna, it's one of the reasons they kind of look at him and go, "You don't have any connections, come on with us." It's when he actually makes a friend, now he can suddenly give a shit and take a risk.
It's
so basically he was an autist. His autism stopped him from giving a shit about anybody on Earth.
I care now.
I didn't. How many guys do you know who would go and say to a chick, "You know what? I'm just scared I'm gonna fail." Like, guys don't like. I would either way. He wants out. He's not going to do it. So why would he admit that to her? I never thought that his real excuse was, "I don't want to die sooner." I really didn't take it as that. So that was my. But I didn't read the book. That's just what I saw on the screen.
I feel like
it's pretty similar.
Sorry, go ahead, Lady B.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think there was a sense too, like dying like on Earth with a lot of people around me, so I wouldn't have to be alone, versus dying alone in space. I think that's kind of the thing. So I could understand why he was scared. Like,
he wasn't born to die alone in space. But again, other people were supposed to survive, but they didn't, because they were the secondary choice for the crew.
Yeah, he wasn't supposed to go to be. But more than that, the fact is they again say he has no connections with anybody. So he's going to die alone regardless.
But even if not, like, he's going to spend the next 30 years on Earth watching it slowly die, knowing he could have affected that outcome. Like that would be a hell into itself. So
Yeah, that'd be
But
worse
that's
than
the
dying.
choice he made. They
Right.
then make the choice of drugging him and throwing him on a ship,
that's
and
why
now
I
it's
just
been
don't
subverted.
like. I didn't like it when I read it in the book, and I still don't like it in the movie. It's
I
one
agree
of
with
these
you, Matt.
choices where
Yeah.
you're
I
just
feel like it's really hard to like a character that starts off that way. Like, I think we're all kind of conditioned to like the people that are like, yeah, I'll just risk my life for like whatever. But I really
Well,
thought that's a
that's
realistic.
that's like
Hold
what
on.
a
That's a
hero's
realistic
journey
thing.
No.
is.
So
You
I
answer the
can't.
call.
Yeah, it's the the call for the journey, and the hero can refuse it at first, but there has to be kind of an underlying reason or something like that. More importantly, though, it does make sense if he believes that this kind of responsibility he's not going to be able to deliver. Right? He believes he's
I mean, that's
inadequate.
why he is. He's like, I can't do it. I'm not
That's-
good enough for this. Like,
That's
right,
absurd, though.
right. And then he goes, no, it's for my children. No, actually, I'm scared of dying. It's the escalation of things where he's just like, and it's like, dude, pick one. It's basically, no, I don't want to go. If they make it clear that his motivation is that this is for better people than me, and they're like, dude, you're the only one we have, and he's like, I don't think I could do it. And they drag him in, and he comes up, and it comes up, well, all right, I'm here. It has to be me. That's great. That's not the way they play it in the movie.
And this is where I really feel
That's
like
low.
the film fails on quite a number of like platforms. Like you could have spent that first 30 minutes where he wakes up really establishing proper motivations for Ryland, and then through the flashbacks you also can show him at the same time where, and this is a problem I had with the book too, but while he's kind of figuring out how the astrophage reproduce and all of this stuff, he's starting to see the greater purpose and the role that he plays with that. So it's like little changes that you can implement so that by the time we see that flashback scene where it's like, I'm scared, you can play it off as like, but wait, Ryland has a purpose. He's helped put a lot of energy into this. He's helped this, like he can make it go just that extra mile. And then you have the entire relationship with Rocky that also then adds another peg, because now this isn't a person who isn't alone. Instead, we just jump from autistic guy who makes a lot of jokes all the time to suddenly guy who has a fucking Pokemon for a best friend. And there's no in between to make that character empathizable or make his arc actually like truly
Empathetic.
matter and resonate with the audience.
Yeah.
So you guys, your take on this movie is, if he had just said, "Wah, I'm sad about these kids,"
Wah.
in 2 lines of dialogue, like this all of a sudden
No.
jumps up.
No, and I don't know what fantasy you're listening to in your headphones, but maybe you should tune into the actual stream and listen to what people are saying.
Jay,
That'd
you're
be
such a
nice.
charmer. Do I sound better? Did that change
No,
anything?
No, you
Your
still
mic's,
sound-
yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're using the wrong mic or if it's just
No, I'm
jacked
using the
or
same mic as always. All right, I'll be back.
something. Have you inserted it rectally?
It's not that
It's the
a
Jews
line or two
coming after
needed to be
Mac.
added in. It's that he needed to be better established as a character, and he needed to have personal stakes more than, like, we're all fucking scared to die. I'm sure in his situation we'd all be scared about going to space. That's not the issue. It's that Ryland, with all of his knowledge and all of his experience and what he has witnessed through this journey of helping out the world governments and everything, there is no personal stake that is built for him to make the ending have a truly like happy payoff that resonates. He doesn't have an arc. He is simply a character that helps you move from scene to scene until the very final arc of the movie where he chooses to save Rocky.
Yeah,
So he
and
doesn't have an arc right up until the end where he has an arc.
yeah, where he suddenly jumps to a conclusion where you're like, wait, bro, what? That's the problem. They don't build it up. They don't show him building up his confidence and becoming competent or whatever. I mean, he's busy. He's busy.
Did we watch
He's-
the same goddamn movie?
No, apparently not. You were
What?
watching it with your
What was a
rose-colored
fucking
glasses because you
space
liked
walk?
the rock puppy in a hamster ball running around.
I did. I
This
thought
is-
he
that
gained
is an
confidence with the
insane
movie.
take that he did
Yeah.
not gain
How did
competence
he
or
not,
confidence.
like,
Just
yeah,
what
like,
are you
what?
talking about?
He doesn't.
Yes, he does.
No, he doesn't. Because when he's going to go, oh, I'm going
I
to
think
fly
he
now,
does.
and Rocky's like, what the hell? And he's like, oh no, I practice, and he's still fucking it up all the time. The everything that kind of
Yes.
his logical leaps are literally leaps. They don't actually work through the problem. I'm with Bex. I would like to see the original assembly cut that they did on this, because it was like another hour and change.
Almost 4 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have this sneaking suspicion that actually includes more character building,
Right.
and they
Exactly.
cut it out because we're just going to make entertaining thing for everyday normie.
Hold on.
$55.
Can we agree with Shippy on this one?
Yes. I agree, Shippy. I just want to say something where it's like, I felt, yes, there were logical leaps. I thought it was very unbelievable that he would figure out how to communicate with the alien in like a day. That's retarded. Like, they're not going to figure out the astrophage, like, whatever, in a day. But it's like, you have to suspend your disbelief to even have this kind of a story, because otherwise it becomes hard sci-fi and you spend pages upon pages or whatever, like, explaining the science of something that's like really kind of wild and probably would never work in the real world. So
right, but that is actually one of the problems with the marketing in the movie, because they were, oh, this is anywhere, and it's hard sci-fi. That's how they're pitching it. Then you walk in, you're like, I mean, as soon as they introduce the astropage, you're like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
this is already
like,
BS to begin with, right?
It's probably hard sci-fi for a lot of people.
How
right?
is the astropage?
It's not hard sci-fi. I agree.
BS. I'm not. How is that as a premise BS?
Let's see. We have bacteria that live in vacuum that are being bombarded with radiation. Somehow, yeah, they're fine. We can block it a whole bunch. But if you touch it with a pin, it just fucking pops. Okay.
Yeah.
If you pierce the cell membrane, it pops.
Yeah,
if it has a cell membrane, it shouldn't be able to live so close to the sun.
Yeah, it doesn't eat off of these things. Like, I don't know. It's just
there's no Jedis. That's enough.
In the book, it didn't make sense either, Goodwin. So
yeah,
I mean,
it just kind of
So okay, so and again, this blows my mind here. If you have this big issue that this isn't hard sci-fi, and you knew it wasn't hard sci-fi coming in.
No.
Went and saw a movie.
No. I didn't read the book ahead of time, so I don't come in and go, oh, look, the book will fill in everything for me. I saw the movie. I saw the marketing. And as soon as people were like, oh, and this is astropage, and I was like, hold up, what? And as I explained, I'm like, this is some bullshit. Then I saw it. I was like, yep, it's bullshit.
But you know what? We've been watching Star Trek, and a lot of that is bullshit.
Is there any science fiction property, movie, book, whatever, that you would then qualify as hard sci-fi then?
Like, yeah, I'd give the Martian, I mean, absent the wind magically blowing a pole through an astronaut, I'll give that one hard sci-fi. I'd say 2001 does its best to do hard sci-fi right up until it goes, okay, and then we have the obelisk and its technology is so advanced we're screwed. But this is their literal bacteria in the vacuum of space that are being bombarded by the hard radiation coming off the sun, and they're fine, but I poked it with a stick and it blew up. Also, somehow it can just instantaneously convert matter into energy. A bacteria, by the way.
At least they do make an attempt to sort of show us that and explain it in some kind of way. Yeah. Compared to like everything else in sci-fi the last 5 years, like what else? What is harder sci-fi? Like what is like? We'll say this is just a semi, right? Sci-fi. What would be like a harder, fully turgid sci-fi?
Well, that's why I said like The Martian, or I give 2001. When I give 2010, one, right? Those Jurassic Park does a pretty good job of covering, trying to cover it and making it plausible. I think a lot of Crichton stuff does that.
Recently, we haven't had a ton of that.
Yeah, but recently, what we've had is Kentucky Fried Dog shit on a stick. So
I can't think of like any recent examples. I'm trying.
Scavenger's Reign.
Oh, you and your Scavenger's Reign.
That's 2023. So.
That's true. Yeah. What a sad show that was, though.
It's a beautiful, breathtaking show either way.
Yes.
Except for the ugly women, according to Price. Bring that up.
I was going to say, like, kind of to Vex's point, when I was thinking of, like, criticisms of this movie, which I legitimately loved. So I just want to get that out of the way. I like the movie. I will rewatch the movie. I was actually... I think Alex said when he left the theater, he felt like a younger man. Like, oh my God, movies are good again. Yeah. I don't know if I got quite to that point, but I was very much aware that, like, oh, this is completely set apart from the last 10 years of, I mean, maybe we've had like a handful. We could probably, count them on one hand. And I think this movie rose to that level.
I would agree with that. I think, again, it's not postmodernist deconstructed bullshit. It's not political. Let me just piss in your face because we hate you as an audience. I think again there's a there's a good story there, and the relationship is good and all that. But again, for when everybody's coming out here glazing this thing like a 10 out of 10, get out of here. Your standards have lowered because you've been around some really shit movies for the last decade.
Jay, you know what? How much of this is like your cynicism? Because you're a cynical
Hold on, I'm on
guy.
the same page as Jay, so it's not just it.
Yeah. So why don't you sit down, Matt,
Don't
and
defend him, Vex.
let
Don't defend
Vex,
him.
the better anti-Zionist, talk.
I thought Jay and
Yes,
Vex,
I did.
I mean, like, I don't really agree with everything you guys have to say about it, but like, I feel like those are fair assessments. I have only just started reading the book, so like, I'm about maybe halfway through the book since I watched the movie first, and it made me interested enough to read the book. And yeah, and going back to it now and thinking about the movie, the like first third of the movie or so, yeah, the pacing is really strange. I wish they would have had more time. It seems like there's like obvious things missing, and I think that's a lot of like that leads to these problems that we're discussing now, where it's like it's kind of not clear what the intentions are, the motivations, and the stakes, and we're not like invested in a like the plot, like it's happening incidentally to him as opposed to him having the agency and making it happen. It's like I get those arguments. That does make sense to me.
But that's how the book unfolds. I mean, that's the same way the book unfolds.
I mean, it was kind of unfortunate too, because like the story of what happened in Earth is a flashback and it isn't the main story. So it's like it's not given the weight. The backstory isn't given the weight of what happens on the ship. So
Well, you don't even need the backstory to give weight of what's happening on the ship. Just show us more of Ryan Gosling on the ship, coming to terms with the situation he's in, trying to figure
like right
out
after
how
he
things
first
work.
wakes up. Like if they would have I loved that whole sequence in the book with him waking up and like kind of remembering what's going on.
Me too.
Yeah, that would have been so cool to see. Now I realize like they don't want to release a 4.5 hour movie, but I think it would have really helped, man.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone know what an assembly cut
that,
is?
Yeah, so it's here are the shots. We put them together. We haven't done full effects. We haven't done all that, but it's this is generally the story. Then they cut down from there.
Every movie's assembly cut is like 3 or 4 hours long.
Yes,
that's like
Right.
super common.
The thing is that with the complexity of this story, you can tell areas that they cut for time
In the
even
first
though this
half
is
especially.
long,
That's
that,
what it
that
is.
that are cutting into. All right, we're removing this section, and it's like, yeah, but some of the characterization go. It'll be fine. We've got Puppy
That's
and a
cool.
hamster ball. Everybody.
Okay,
love it.
I know I'm coming in late, but what are the major criticisms and who are the camps? I feel like Alex and Lady B are like, this is great. Shut up, Jay and Vex.
I mean, I'm with Alex as far as
without criticism. I think my husband's like 10 out of 10. I'm like, 7.
I think it was an excellent movie, and like I would rewatch it and I would recommend it. I agree with Alex in that regard, but yeah, like there's some issues, reasonable ones, and we're talking about it.
It's the best movie I've seen this year, and I like
you
it.
need to watch Dust Bunny then. Watch Dust Bunny and then come back to that statement.
What is Dust Bunny?
the hell
Vex?
is
What are we
Dust
doing?
Never even heard of that.
It's a Mads Mikkelsen movie where he is a basically he's hired by a 10-year-old to kill the bunny that lives under her bed, and it's just this great.
Oh, I've seen the trailers for that.
Yeah,
I would watch that. Yeah, I'd watch that for
I
sure.
love Mads Mikkelsen.
One thing this movie didn't do, which I thought they were going to do, is they didn't have him contact back to Earth to have the ginger chick walk him through everything and
He couldn't
teach
do
him
that.
all the lessons.
Don't
I
you
know.
understand the distances of space
Right.
and radio telecommunication?
It's never stopped
Jeez.
anybody.
Thankfully, they actually dealt with that, and they also deal with
The
They didn't do it.
Expanse, Zax, how dare
Yes.
you? The Expanse deals with that quite well.
You just got to send us subspace communication. That's so obvious.
For
Yeah,
sure.
obviously, yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't do it. There was no like even like a waiting period for the messages. It was like they didn't do any of that at all.
What
And
the
so I thought
property
they'd have
with
lessons
needle
for them to learn
casting
or
What
videos
was-
from the other
something
crews
has,
explaining
like, a
how to
needle
do
cast?
stuff.
Is that Hyperion?
They didn't do any of that.
You
so I
can't
like that.
because
He learned on his
light
own.
years away. He's literally like a light year, several light years away. You can't.
But they can't do any of this stuff.
I believe Needlecast is altered
No,
carbon.
but I think actually the science works if you can move that fast.
Jay.
So the relativity is correct. I mean, they talk about like the difference in length, trip wise, going and coming back, right? Because of the relativistic travel. They clearly aren't, let me just radio and talk to somebody. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
when 22 years, you'll get you can be able to
Exactly.
to get the response or whatever. So he is on his own. That's the best part. The problem is they're too busy making jokes to really show him getting up to speed and getting confident with everything. It's more, oh look, we need to have a funny moment now.
Yeah, I think they wanted to rush through that,
I
but
didn't find it that funny.
does
though.
that destroy the movie? To me, it was just kind of
No,
like
I don't think it
I thought it
destroys
was a
it.
little clunky. Maybe like it's the first thing you get is kind of like a joke of him falling over backwards, and that's when it started. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this adaptation, but I thought, and in the end, I thought it was fantastic. There were certainly things about it that I thought were imperfect. Like,
yeah,
I
I felt the like dumb humor got on my nerves too. I'm like, please.
didn't
stop
love the
making
dumb
stupid
humor, and the
jokes.
pacing was a little weird. Where
It
it was
was.
kind of like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, is it over yet? It's not over
Yeah.
yet, right? Like I
The
felt like they
beginning
think about
and
that.
middle of the beginning and the end have like really strange pacing issues, but like the middle
Yeah.
third of it, I thought was really pretty strong.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
almost had that. Like it's like that. I was been like looking into this as I kind of working on a book that's gonna have a 5-act like sequence where like there is like a big battle like in act 3, and then you have act 4, and then you have like another fight in act 5. Like it's kind of it's a different kind of a thing, and it just kind of, I don't know, it's a different way to write stuff. And I did kind of like, okay, there's more, and it like, I don't want to say it dragged, but it's like, okay, he's going
Wasn't that
back
it was
now, and
dra-
he's
it
going
just
back.
it didn't feel like that normal crescendo.
Yeah,
of,
it
like,
was
a
just
movie
It was
Right.
disjointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Well-
little disjointed. There were like lulls where there shouldn't be. Like it's kind of like this is where we should be hitting like the end of the second act and then right up into the climax of the third. But that was sort of like, oh, they solved the big problem. Now there's another problem that presented itself right at the end.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
that's
two,
the
it's like one of
climax
those
for
2
sure.
endings style
Yeah.
movies where it was like, all right, you might
Yeah,
have one
which
too many.
which is like that is how the book goes, but in a movie adaptation, it was a little disjointed.
Yeah, works
Yeah.
better as a novel. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was fantastic overall. I mean, it's like there's definitely things I could point out, like on reflection, I didn't love, but my experience of sitting there watching it was fantastic.
Yeah, like I had such a
Daisies.
good time. It was like so nice to see a movie that's like, yes, like humanity is worth fighting for, and there's
Yes.
good things in the world, and I don't hate myself. I don't feel
Right.
super depressed. So,
Yeah, it's not
No,
negative.
I could
Yeah.
see it on the people's faces around me. Like
yeah.
people understood that intuitively, even if they weren't, actively thinking on it.
Yeah, it
One
wasn't. It
thing
didn't
I
have
would
the
say-
nihilism or the postmodernist deconstructed bullshit that,
Right,
that were,
right.
or again, the politics of let me just piss in your face because you're beneath me. It's,
It would have been nicer if
Yeah.
they earned the communication between him and Rocky a little bit
Yes.
more, because in
Absolutely.
the book that they do take more time for that. I understood why they sped through
Yeah.
it, but it felt like it was just a matter of like flipping a switch and then you can understand a completely different species.
yeah, let me
It's like-
record 3 things and then suddenly here it goes.
And then
As
all of a
if
sudden,
Right.
somehow they
got
have
the
same
whole language.
syntax or anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
and yeah.
This is
Oh,
Oh,
Dustin.
sorry, you
I
guys.
guess I'm confused by this because is not the montage the universally accepted method to show
It's wrong.
time passing in such a way as to not bore the audience with the innate
It's
details?
fine if you want to like spoon feed things to your audience and you think your audience is fucking retarded. Sure, like that's
Yeah,
a
like, you
great
don't
way
have to
spoon
show
feed
every
things.
aspect of
you
it,
wanted
but it-
you wanted to
but
watch him
Alex-
playing Duolingo on his
I-
phone.
yeah, I don't
like
wanna
a
watch
rock,
anymore. I
Like,
got
No, but
enough of that.
Alex, like if you saw different aspects of him and the challenge of the communication being an impediment to them getting their work done, that would be something that would be interesting. It's not like you'd want to watch him walk through every single word, but the fact that they haven't figured out their whole language yet could be an interesting
Yeah,
mechanic in the storytelling. It was the fact that they just like sped run it. It was just like, oh, I've got a computer. I'll align your voice with this sound and we'll figure it out. And then I now know your whole language. Like that was a little. I feel like they could have earned that a little bit better.
much
It's
more
not
It's
time
like it's the
Yeah.
source of a. It's the source of a lot of like comedy. The book is funny. Like of what I read from it so far, like the book is hilarious at times. And yeah, like the learning how to communicate part, there's a lot of funny parts in there. Just
Yeah,
kinda-
I'd say
I
the
thought
other
they
thing
rushed
that
it.
that's because I think probably because they sped run the language thing is you don't really get a sense of Rocky's competence and knowledge and
Well,
understanding of a lot of things.
And
Go get him
Man.
next.
just on that note, and again, this is a fault of Phil Lord and Christopher Miller in adapting it, as in the novel, at the very least, Rocky balances out Grace, and they feel like two brains put together. And instead, Rocky is just made to be a sidekick. So instead, he's just like the comedy side to everything
That's
that Ryland somehow figures out on his own, even though he shouldn't have the knowledge or technical expertise to figure out all of this on his own without reading a manual or something. So that is 100% a fault of the film.
That was one of
interesting.
Who figured out that they had to stay in
in
the planet's orbit to get the Talmiva sample?
Well, no, it was just an interesting dynamic in the book because they were working together to accomplish this. Where it, like, Vex is right; he does kind of come off like a comedic sidekick.
Well, I mean, there were several. He did. I mean, the biggest one obviously was Rocky coming up with the need to stay in the planet's orbit.
I'm not
to
saying
get
they
the
failed
Talmiva
at
sample.
it. I'm just saying her point has some weight.
I think the issue that is being made is they didn't make a big enough deal about Rocky's contributions. It's not that Rocky didn't make significant
No. That's
this.
there's a reason I didn't say contributions. I said competence. What happens is, Rocky jumps to this ludicrous logical leap, and they go, oh yeah, that's what we should do. That doesn't set up that Rocky, when he's thinking through, you're like, okay, well, one of them he'll figure out, or Rocky has an understanding, and I trust him. Most of the time he's running around again, being a puppy in a hamster ball and making cute noises so that we can all laugh and have the nice comic sidekick.
He's an
Then all of a sudden, nowhere he goes, oh, by the way, how about this thing? Oh yeah, let's do that. Excite.
Alien,
Alex,
his brain works differently. Grace even says in the movie,
it's a cool story, bro, but math is math. That's how they're going to build their actual language to begin with, which would have showed his competence.
Yes,
Alex, I'll explain it to you without condescending to you like a jerk. So what I think what the soul of the book is that it was like two scientists working together from but I think they're correct in the sense that a lot of Rocky was played more for laughs than for his actual competency. Not say that it wasn't there.
It wasn't serious enough.
It just wasn't. It wasn't really the point. It was kind of like a subtext. Whereas in the book, the main point is it's two scientists from two completely different, planets working together. So it's kind of like, I think he was undercut a little bit.
Yeah, and complementing each other because the strengths of one or the weaknesses of another. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
I was gonna to what Vex was saying before. I was gonna say the book they do a really good job kind of differentiating them as very
two
much like one. Yes, that's what I wanted. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Whereas in the movie they end up being more or less the same in some ways. I guess that's kind of the point. But Rocky is very much an engineer in the book, and that's his domain of expertise. And Ryan Gosling is the biology guy, the scientist,
the physics guy, the math guy. He doesn't have that physical expertise that someone like Rocky as an engineer would have.
Right.
So,
and you're kind of missing that in the movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a fair criticism.
They hit 4 or 5 things in the movie where Rocky very clearly was demonstrating that he was
I think it was there
in those elements. The movie didn't stop to spike the football and have Raylan say, "Man, he's really smart at this engineering stuff."
This Rocky dude fucks.
The problem is again, as Goodwin had mentioned, it's the competency that's there. So because he has a handful of brief moments, most of Rocky's screen time and presence is simply just him doing cutesy things because the audience likes seeing that Grogu type shit. They like seeing a cute little thing. So the few moments where Rocky does actually contribute things, it feels almost out of character to what the film is doing, because otherwise he's just squeaking and walking around like a fucking crab.
I like that squeaking and walking around too. I mean, that might make me a basic bitch, but I liked it.
It's fun, it's enjoyable, but it really
you make a good point.
A little bit too far with that, especially when he takes him to that holodeck thing. That was a little bit much. I think it was there. It's just it was they needed to turn the volume down on the cheesy shit. But again, maybe there is something to say to be playing for what your audience expects. I don't think it's the greatest thing, but there's probably a lot of people that like that.
No, again, I understand why people enjoy the movie, and again, kind of a space fantasy thing with amusing sidekick and all that. I mean, it's a fun enough movie. The problem is given the budget that they blew on this thing and what they were kind of working with and the concepts they're dealing with, this could have been a much better sci-fi movie while also having the relationship building and building the stakes and all that. But instead we went for kind of a lower effort humor and let's be cute.
Which is why Sunshine is the better film. Sunshine explores the exact same thing and is far better.
Sucks.
Okay, Matt, you know what? You need to go and stick a cock in your mouth right now. Okay?
That movie sucks. That movie tries to be like 4 different movies at once. All of a sudden, it becomes like a horror movie at the end, and it doesn't even know what it's trying to accomplish.
The clues were all there, man. I admit
stinks.
it goes
Sunshine's
a little bit.
mess.
No, it's not a mess.
It's a mess. The third act becomes a horror movie out of nowhere.
And there's nothing wrong with that. And there's tons of hints that it's going in that direction.
Like departure from everything they set up to begin with. It's not a good movie.
Well, I mean, I'll give you a movie where there is humor, but also really good sci-fi is Moon.
The sun made him like into a monster. What is happening, Vex?
The sun didn't make him into a monster. He went fucking crazy being alone in space, man, because he had the weight of literally all of humanity on his shoulders.
And then he had like superpowers. It was like 6 movies at once.
That is silly. I will agree with you on that one. It's quite silly.
I saw the movie.
I've never seen that.
It had potential. It was like 75% of it's good, and then it just gets completely ridiculous at the end.
Yeah.
I might have to cue it up.
Just there's one thing that no one has mentioned, and this was another. This was an even bigger problem I had with the movie. They boasted in a lot of the marketing and interviews that they use like real sets and all this, and they tried to limit VFX and CGI and all that stuff. And the scenes where you have a chance to show it off, which is primarily in like the first third of the movie, they skate through that thanks to the really choppy editing and pacing. And the best comparison, and this is just a simple thing that they could have actually built on, where you don't have to show like Ryland doing a bunch of things or have like a bunch of dialogue put in to explain anything, is like in the first Alien film, you have all of these shots of the interior and exterior of the Nostromo, and there's no dialogue necessary to help build the tension, that feeling of isolation and loneliness, so that by the time the Xenomorph shows up, you feel like the entire weight of the situation. I felt like this film could have utilized some of the really nice sets it had to really hone in that Ryland is truly alone, that he's completely isolated, the weight that is on this character's shoulders, not knowing, because there's a point where he doesn't even know if he's in his own sun's orbit, right? It takes him a moment to figure out that he's in orbit of a different sun. In the book, at least, they don't really do a good job of that in the movie. So that's something.
Like, I'm just gonna interject because I just read that at the pool, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think anyone is going to want to sit through him like tying the knot.
You're not hearing what I just said. You didn't hear what I just said at all.
You better hear what she said, Lady B.
Gravity is different, okay?
Like, you didn't hear anything I just said, Lady B.
Wait, I will say there was something you touched on.
Is there another point where, like, I just hit like chapter 3. Is there another point where he figures out he's in a different like thing? Because like if it's there like is. That, where it's like, okay, that's interesting to read. I just don't know how that's going to translate onto the screen.
I use that as an example. That's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that this film really underutilized the amazing sets it built to try and establish some more themes and at least some sort of emotional balance for Ryland's character, instead of jump cutting through a whole bunch of shit.
I would like to tag that. I'd like to tag. Hold on, Lady B, if I could. Just because I want to tag what Vex is saying, because I think she touched on something that I thought was 100% correct, especially in the beginning, like first act. The editing is choppy, and they didn't utilize their sets well because the cinematography choices that they made were really weird. A lot of the stuff was like from like low angles and kind of mostly out of focus.
Right.
And
okay,
it was
I agree
disjointing.
With that. Okay.
So it was a lot of choices that like for me it was hard to kind of like fall into it. Once I did, I had a blast and I thought it was fantastic, but it was at first it was just choppy editing it's a really good point, because it just kept cutting really fast before you'd even get settled into one of these weird shots. It would cut to another one that was like kind of behind him or like off to the side, and you couldn't see the action, and it was like you're trying to settle into it and then they cut again. It was some weird stylistic choices especially in the beginning that made it really tough.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty beautifully filmed. I mean, there are some like editing notwithstanding understanding. But yeah, like I thought it was a beautiful movie.
I think there are beautiful shots. I think that what Vex and Matt are kind of talking about is it's not just pacing, but it doesn't establish you within the settings so that you kind of understand the space that they're in. There are times that all of a sudden the camera's out here, and I was like, where in the hell even is that on the spaceship?
Yeah,
Where am I inside of this? Because we're jump cutting around and we're not having a flow.
Something that I get what you guys are saying, because I was thinking you were meant like in the story, and I was thinking not like of actual cinematography. I agree, because I feel like when you're in that like space thing, it makes you feel like the ship is huge. I mean, they have this like holodeck thing that they can just go into, like it's a space station or something. This is a picture of this capsule. I mean, it's obviously not huge, and I feel like, they didn't really do a very good job of creating the claustrophobia in there, which makes sense. It seems like a very
I thought the
basic
weird
thing
shots were doing that.
Pardon?
I thought that the weird
shots worked great.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't bother me at all. I thought that made it look claustrophobic with the weird angle shots. Everything seemed too close in from different angles, and I thought it seemed like if someone was doing a vlog of themselves in a space capsule, it might be what it would look like. And
it felt like kind of deliberately disorienting is kind of how I interpreted it.
It doesn't work very well, though, with the second half of the film is the bigger problem, because you have this first act, this first hour or so that is so choppy that you can't settle into it and you can't really orient yourself in where the movie is taking place and how this is supposed to reflect off of the greater plot, the greater themes, and Ryland as a character. And then it completely slows down in the second half. And in that second half, it feels like really disjointed and jarring, because now you're getting shots of things that don't quite make sense. Like the entire like hovering over Adrian, I was consistently confused as to what had a hole in it and what was supposed to fall off, because of how we didn't get that orientation of the ship. And it was so unclear by the way the film had edited that scene on top of it.
So
we didn't see a lot of exterior
stuff. It's very clearly a stylistic choice between the sort of discombobulated first half where Raylan doesn't know what is going on because he's just woken up and he's in this strange alien space, and the second half where he's become, accustomed to his space and he knows where everything is, and it's, everything is clearer to him because he's experienced it before.
No.
You can say that doesn't work for you, but that is, very much a stylistic choice the movie made. Well, as far as the criticism of, it doesn't feel like he's alone, I'm not sure how much more alone it gets than jettisoning your two.
That's not at all what I said.
Nobody said he
no.
didn't feel like he was alone.
Yes, you did say that.
I said that the film doesn't adequately use its sets to establish isolation and how alone Rylan is, to help us empathize and get a feel for the character. That's what I said.
What is jettisoning your only two human compatriots out of the airlock do?
We don't even get to really see that.
5 minutes he's going to meet a puppy and a ball.
I didn't get that impression from that. It was a tragic moment, but I didn't feel like he felt more alone in those moments.
It was stated over so quickly that there was literally no emotional weight to that literally 10 seconds of the movie.
Yeah, gives a speech for each one.
Yeah, people that he doesn't know, and he's like, I don't know. I looked through some papers, and there's the thing. Thanks for the vodka.
There's an intrinsic value to human life.
Now you're making an assumption and you're imposing that on what the film actually showed us. The film doesn't actually show us that.
Okay,
the film absolutely shows him giving a speech in Jettison again.
He did, and it's like I don't really know like how you would show that at the point this character is, because he doesn't know who he is and doesn't remember what happened or why he's there.
And you can't show that because the film doesn't do a good job of establishing he doesn't know who he is, because it skates through so much in the first hour.
I just thought he woke up and didn't remember anything.
He got woke? No.
What?
He woke up.
There was black people on the council at the beginning, and he had a security guard help him fix the astrophage problem. So you got your representation.
Yeah, they should have sent Carl. He was the one who actually solved this shit.
Did you notice that in the government there was a whole lot of representation? It was like, is this the Angolan space program? Why are they here?
The Angolan space program.
Everyone has a finger in the pie. I think the pacing stuff I can understand. I just the language to go back. The language stuff I thought it was fine for me. Was enough. We don't know his point of view. Like we don't get to see Rocky's point of view at all. I don't know if they do that in the book. If you can see what
Not
there's
really.
anything other than him. So I felt like we know exactly as much about him as Grace would have known about him. Maybe a little bit less,
Yeah.
but
To
enough.
be
enough.
fair, like Rocky, we don't ever, even in the book, you don't need to know his point of view because you know that him and Ryland are basically they're both
Same.
scientists. They're both, like there's a similar base that whatever Ryland's point of view is, it's more or less Rocky's point of view. The thing that the movie just doesn't do, and I guess we're circling back to a point, is that they don't distinguish the two in the film as much as they do in the book, and that
They
is
don't.
an
Yeah.
error. Yeah.
He's a pet. He comes across as a pet for sure.
Yeah.
But this set stuff, I can't comment on. I don't really notice what you should do with the set. So
I mean, I would.
You know what
So
occurred to me?
I think Will's correct. Like the beginning, it should be a bit of a chaotic thing because you're kind of experiencing it as Grace. The problem is they never sat down and then establish once he's gotten comfortable, so that the audience he knows where everything is in the ship. Shame we don't, because he'll just show up in a room, and I was like, I didn't even know that room was here.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's like another thing they don't do is like, especially looking at the pictures in the book, is like you could establish scale. So like one of the shots they could show is like how big is he in relation to the ship, which you kind
Right.
of see in the end. But
Look, if you
even
know.
when when he goes out in the
right.
on the spacewalks, but even
That would
then,
have been
I
a
feel
good
like it's
shot to have early on.
a
Mhm.
lot bigger
They
than
do
he does.
have
But
that
he doesn't.
early
Do you know what
on.
occurred to me, guys, just while you were talking?
What?
Remember how, in the late 2010s and the early 2020s, they would always do that thing where like a girl character would be named like a guy name, like Ray or something like
Andy.
that. Yeah. Grace. They did it with a dude. I
Well,
didn't
that's
even
his last
notice that
name, to be
until right
fair.
now. Isn't it
Ryland
Gra-
Grace.
Yeah, his
It's
first name's
Ryland
Ryland.
Grace. Oh, I thought it was
Yeah.
Grace Ryland. Okay. All right, never mind.
No, Grace Randolph. That was who they were really going to send first.
So,
Hey, Alex,
that was
maybe-
astrophage,
Yeah.
and I don't
Alex,
know
you
if I
said
like
that-
it. So,
Send her right now.
I was just going to say, Alex, you said that there's a shot toward the beginning where we get to see Ryan Gosling in relationship to the rest of the ship. I don't really remember that, man.
I don't remember that
Rocky
either.
Throws
Did
the
anyone else
Xenonite
feel-
tube at him.
Oh
yeah.
When he's
That's
in a
Back and
doorway.
forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
Mm.
but it's
Did
still
anyone
like,
else
oh,
feel,
this is a
though-
really big ship.
Maybe this is a trite point, but I feel like recently it's been so bad. I thought the CGI on Rocky was incredible.
A
No,
lot
it
of-
was very good because you
It
could
was
tell
all
they were
good.
using a
Puppets.
puppet more than anything.
Yeah, they
Oh,
did
it
a
was
lot
a
of
puppet?
practical. Yeah, a lot of practical.
didn't
with
know
it.
that.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool.
That is cool.
I appreciate
That's a
that.
testament to how good it was. You didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what was
Well-
I really appreciated too is like they gave us shots of like what Rocky sees, and I thought that was so cool. And then like Will has been kind of like reading on this. He did the audiobook and has been like following threads of stuff on Reddit of people talking about it. And somebody like came up with the idea, if Rocky's in space, like what does he actually like experience in terms of like how he senses things? Because you can't like there's no sound or anything. So
Yeah, so they
was
do
interesting.
address that in the movie with the screen that he has that basically it's like a camera that takes light and then turns it into a 3-dimensional kind of a
Yeah.
haptic device so that he can
Yeah.
then sense it because he
Which
senses
was it
via
in the
audio.
book? They had to figure that out. In
Yes.
the movie, he just has it.
Yeah, he just suddenly had it and it just comes out of nowhere.
That was one of those things. That's the type of stuff I think I wish they'd spent more time on, because even having known it, it felt like they just jumped right into him
Right.
understanding it, just like
Well,
the
that's-
language thing.
He comes with a clock of all things, Grace, to show
But
Rocky.
he
And
somehow
then there's
knew,
no response, and then he immediately
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, ultrasound," and I'm like, "What the fuck?"
like that, because it took time for him to figure out how Rocky understood the world around him, because it was like
Yeah.
there was a communication barrier, and he's trying
Yeah.
to figure out.
And there's
different
about
things.
80 different ways that you could misunderstand what a
Yeah.
normal two-handed clock is trying to demonstrate
And then
to you.
he eventually figures out, oh, it's a surface thing. Like he needs to there needs to be a tactile surface, and then he can actually see it with his sound wave.
needs to
brain
be
or whatever.
three-dimensional in some way.
Those
That went way
are
too
the few things.
Yeah.
Those are the things for me that were missing from the movie that I think would have strengthened it. I don't think it
Yeah.
would have weakened it. I feel like if they had
Agreed.
taken more time to earn those moments,
Yeah.
because they were big moments in the book, and it was such an interesting exploration of like it's kind of like, what was that movie with the big like elephant whale aliens that they had to learn how to speak, they learned how to communicate to them with
Star Trek.
Arrival.
no. What Arrival? Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Arrival.
That was such an
cool.
interesting journey to watch them figure out how to communicate, and I feel like that was lost in this movie, and it was really well executed in the book. Like, I'm not complaining. I thought the movie was great, but that would have been nice to have seen some of those things more fleshed out.
Yeah, there's a reason it's not a 2. I mean, it's I would say 6.5 would probably.
I give
be
it
what
like
I
a
would-
5.5 to a 6 out of 10. It's not terrible, but
That's
it's not as amazing as
Okay.
everyone is
So
saying it.
let's
Wait, hold
let's,
on.
let's
Vex,
establish
Vex. Can we?
scale
Can
here.
we? Can we have some scale? Like, what else is a 6 to you? Like, what else is a 5.5 out of 10?
Like The Fifth Element is probably a 6, and I love that movie.
What the fuck? What's a 9?
A 9?
Saltburn.
Probably The Last Samurai is a 9 or a 10.
That's
The
that
Last
much
Samurai.
better than The Fifth Element.
What?
What?
The Fifth Element is a crazy fun film, but it
It's a
has
blast.
a lot of issues in story.
Disagree.
Mainly.
Perfect movie.
Like it's not, but it's so fun that that's one of my favorite movies, right? But The Last Samurai
Wait,
is
you, what,
a
you
near
did
perfect
one of
film.
your favorite movies a 6? What are we measuring here?
Because I don't base my ratings off of how much I like something. I base it off of how well is it crafted and put together.
Vex's husband is like, oh man, Bandy, that was amazing. That was a 4.
Solid 3 out of 10,
Like-
babe. I
like-
came
It was
10
pretty
times.
shit. I liked it. So you know what are you gonna do?
I like.
Was
I
it
think
good for you
Prometheus-
too? Oh, about a 4.
Prometheus is like a 2 or 3 out of 10, but it's like my favorite shitty film. I love watching that film because of how bad it is. So
I don't like Prometheus, but it's not a 2
I
out
like
of 10.
Prometheus. Like, there's
it's
a lot of,
it's
like,
damaging to all of the alien lore.
But like you're
Like,
saying
Yeah.
that if you're saying it's a 2 out of 10, then that's like next to like, Troll 2, right? You're putting that
like,
on the
the
same
story
level.
is-
I might say that Troll 2 has a more coherent story and smarter
got
more
characters than
value.
Prometheus does.
Yes, Jay
But
is
like that's
absolutely
not
correct.
realistic. Like you can't. That's not realistic because there's a lot of competent acting. Like the shots are good. The composition is
Yeah, the problem is that movies'
competent.
jobs are to tell a story, and if the story is shit and everybody is retards, then I'm gonna have a problem with that. Versus,
Well,
But
okay,
I'm not
obviously
saying
this
you
is an
can't have a
important
problem with
question.
it, Jay.
Is
But to put it at
movie's
a
job
2 out
to
of
tell
10,
us-
that's retarded.
Well,
That is
again,
just-
I feel
I
like
mean,
you
it's
guys-
David Lindelof writing. That's about where it goes.
I
Is a
feel like,
movie's job to tell a story, or is a movie's job to entertain you?
and that's where you can't really like settle.
Well-
You can never settle on a
Subjective, and
rating
that's
scale.
Yeah.
because
All right.
people-
Well, how about I just put some flashing lights and make some noise for you? That'll entertain you. Is that a movie?
Jay, you're such a charmer.
The ability to tell a story is tied up with being entertaining.
No, it's
But
not.
I want both things.
Entertained by plenty of things that aren't a story.
Movies
But
that
it's
don't
a
have a story
storytelling
at
medium.
all.
That
You
doesn't
said
make sense.
isn't the job of a movie to be entertaining, just entertainment. That's what it provides.
that's-
No, I can
no.
provide entertainment
That's
in
not
other
what he
ways.
said. That's not what he said. He said like isn't like watching a story entertaining is what he said.
No, it's not what he said.
Yes, it is. Isn't that what you said, Alex?
Yes.
He said the
No,
point of a
he
film
said-
is to be entertaining
The-
and tell a story. He said
Yeah.
both.
And
Well,
story.
The ability,
But it's
the purpose of a
entertaining
movie
you by
is to-
telling a story. I mean, what
Yeah,
we're
he
saying
didn't
is
say by telling a
semantics
story.
here.
To
He said
tell
and tell a
story
story.
first. If it
What,
fails
okay,
at
what's a
story,
fucking film that doesn't tell a story? That can anyone? Name
I know
one?
where the worlds might meet that, but goddamn, is that entertaining?
It's
I'll
a
give you
storytelling
that.
medium. It's implied. You don't have to clarify that.
Oh, the Super Mario movie. There's no fucking or the Minecraft movie. There's no story in there.
I agree, but there's an attempt at it. Like
Is
it's
there?
technically telling a story.
Yes,
Is there?
there is an attempt at it.
Technically,
I mean, I guess like flinging shit on a wall is an attempt to make art, but
and ends like it's not like a fucking like Danish art.
well, so it's a
piece where it's-
blowjob, but that's not really a story.
the
It's,
Marvels is another
Jay,
Well,
example
you're
of
just
a movie
being a
that
jerk
doesn't tell
now,
story.
okay? Like, don't. Like Alex is making a decent point, and I think that should be observed.
I know I'm making a decent point. The problem is he doesn't want to answer it because he knows he doesn't have an answer for it.
No, I do have an answer. The problem
Oh.
is what you do is go, "Oh, I was entertained, so it's good."
That's not what he
That's
said.
not
the
Why are
same
you being
thing.
So
That isn't
what he
condescending
said,
with
though, Jay.
Alex.
Because he doesn't have an answer.
I do have an answer. I
Oh
just
my
gave
God.
it to you. Story
No,
first,
your answer,
always.
an answer is not misinterpreting a question.
story first, always.
So a movie that tells a very tight story that is boring. You waking up in the morning and going to the DMV, fully recorded, is a
Ha.
story. That
Right,
has
You know what?
because-
You know what I
because-
could. You know what
so-
I could.
Yeah,
you know
the
what
easy
example,
answer to
Jay?
that is boring is subjective.
Jay, I've got a great example. John fucking Wick. Terrible story, but you find it incredibly entertaining. So there we go, man.
No, actually, good story. You
terrible
got bored
story.
and decided, oh, I'm
There's
out.
no story. It doesn't even have a story.
May
it's
I?
the thinnest movie ever, and you like it because it's entertaining.
May
so
I?
No.
You just undid your whole
Yes.
argument.
Because if that were
Yeah.
true,
What is happening right
with
now?
2 better.
Vex, go.
Just to interject, this is why like the scale, you can't ever agree on a scale because some of us are looking at this more objectively, others are looking at it subjectively, and also our metrics for how we score a movie are also so completely different. So all I can do and all we can do is give examples of other films that we have rated as such, but we're never really going to come to an agreement as to how we got there.
Yes, that's why we asked you to provide your scale. And
Right,
what
and
it
I
is.
provided my scale, but I also said that I judge movies objectively, not subjectively. So my entertainment value is not really a huge thing for me.
I
What
would
is
include that,
judging a
honestly.
movie objectively?
Pardon? Say that
Well,
again.
No,
What is
there's
judging a
there's
movie
objective
object-
merits to a
Right,
movie,
there's
like story
acting, there's
structure,
score, story structure, and writing, dialogue,
Acting is an entirely
cinematography.
subjective metric. The
It is.
quality.
Well, I
of
mean,
the
guys,
script
like,
is an entirely
wouldn't all
subjective
ranking be like inherently relative?
Alex,
Yeah.
it's
Yes.
not that subjective. I'd say
Yeah.
it's partially subjective.
It's
It's not.
intersubjective is the phrase you're
Well,
probably looking for.
hold
No,
on.
I'm
look
not
at
trying.
the-
Don't condescend to me, asshole. I'm on your side.
No, I'm sorry. I was not meaning
I'm trying
to
to
be
defend you.
condescending.
You know
best
what? Get him,
example-
Jay. Fuck
the
it.
the best example I can give for acting being objective is Keanu Reeves in 1992's Dracula. That is a god awful performance on any
Yeah.
scale you
It's
can look at.
objectively bad.
Right,
Like
it's
the Wheel of
objectively
Time,
bad.
babe.
So
You didn't
there's
say
so
more?
there's nobody anywhere on earth that's going to watch that movie and think, that was fine.
I don't
Again,
care if
this
there
is
is
where the
anybody
scale
on earth.
differs.
That's
What the
subjective.
definition of objective is.
No, it's not.
What's up?
Yes, it
Gordon?
is.
But,
Again, it's
but
you
measurable
have
with
to-
technique.
You gotta be reasonable, Alex. Like you can't. Okay, you can say, yeah, okay, fine, that's true. But like, there's still a relative objective scale to these things. Like, yes, you could always find outliers, and you can even find a significant population, but it still doesn't make it more objectively good. Like, I was an actor for a long time. It's like you're supposed to hit and accomplish certain things in a scene, right? And
Yeah.
you can objectively tell whether an actor did or didn't. Now, you can subjectively like or dislike a performance, but actually hitting the emotional and the story beats of the story that's not objective. That's not subjective. That is an objective thing you did or you didn't do.
Yeah,
Like-
here's the thing and why we often get confused with
What's
this,
your
right?
I took directing
Yes,
classes.
what's a
He's
sequel?
an actor. Like we know this because we've been trained to see it. I feel like it's harder for like the layperson to say this is a good or a bad performance because they don't know
Of
what
course
they're
it
looking
is.
at.
Yeah,
It's also
I've
relatively
watched the
irrelevant. but-
professionals in Hollywood stick their dick in a pencil sharpener for the last 2 decades. Like, I have a hard time saying credentials is the.
Nobody
Well,
said
okay.
it was credentials. Again, it's
Okay,
a
but
matter of
we've
it's
gotten
trained.
Alex, we've gotten so sidelined. Vex's
Yeah.
original point was that there are objective metrics that you can rate a quality of a film on, and I think she's right. I think there are things like act structure and nailing story beats, nailing cinematography, and conveying the story, conveying emotion. Those things, yes, everything in art is subjective. So if you want to just you can always make that argument, but there are objective qualities.
well,
qualifying
yeah.
factors.
No, so again,
Qualities with like a universal appeal.
no. So the problem is that phrase that all art is subjective is a confusion of what it's actually saying. The reception of art is always subjective,
Yeah.
right?
Okay,
Thing, how it affects me, but I can damn well judge your brush technique on your painting
Yeah.
and say, yeah, that ain't it. Or if
Yeah.
you tell me this is a sunflower and it's a toilet bowl, you and I are going to have a discussion about how you fucked this up.
But also
What's
your
up, Nat?
relative
There you
understanding,
go.
your relative understanding of brush technique is also comes into play. Like my buddy, growing up was a musician, and he used to play me these jazz things, and I didn't understand it. I was like, that just sounds like noise to me. But from a musician's perspective, it was so technically competent that
Yeah.
it was like really impressive. But to my subjective opinion, I was like, doesn't sound like anything interesting to me.
Right.
So it's like, this is when we start to get into these kind of gray areas. But I still think Vex's original point that you can objectively put qualifying markers on a film and hold it to that standard, that I don't think it's necessarily tied in with how much it entertained you.
Yeah, I can tell you that objectively, ABP2 was lit for shit
Yeah.
because nobody's ever seen that movie because nobody turned a light on. That's
right,
a problem.
right. Like the
right?
final scene, with the long night in the Game of Thrones is horribly lit. That's not an
No, your
opinion.
Oh,
TV is
man.
just too cheap.
I just like
TV's fault, man.
just to throw like another example out there. I love the Terrifier movies. Like I absolutely love that franchise, right? But I can like objectively, those movies are a 6 on a very good day, a good day, a 3 to 4 most of the other time, because the acting is not very good, the lighting's not very good, the camera work isn't. It's all very novice, right? But if I'm looking at things like performance, well, I need to look at the genre I'm in and the tone the movie is going for. So for that, I would say the performances are on par with what the movie is setting its expectations for.
Yeah.
Sometimes the schlock becomes part of the charm.
Right.
To like build off of Vex's point, that's when I stopped giving a shit about that type of thing, where it's like I could look at a movie like Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and recognize it's excellent in its quality. I don't like it. So that's
The Godfather. Yeah. I know it's a
But like I was
going
to use this as an example why I think like the entertainment value is somewhat important when like giving a thing like a film like a Marriage Story. Okay, like I feel like that's a very competently made film. I'd probably give it like really high marks, but oh my god, I do not want to sit through that because of the emotion. It feels to me like no, like
and for me that's the highest value is, do I like it? I actually gave up on caring about stuff like that. There's times where I can still be like, wow, that was incredible. Like there's a few shots in the movie Amelie that are like, what an accomplishment. But still, that doesn't mean I like the movie. Do you know what I mean? So
and it's like when I relate, like how can you relate to it? What does it make?
Do I even give a shit?
Right. So like when I'm putting like Project Hail Mary on a 5.5 at like 6 scale, I'm like, here's all the things it does good. It's an averagely good movie. It's just like we had those averagely good movies in like the 90s and early 2000s, right? They're just fun movies. I didn't not enjoy myself. I enjoyed myself in the theater when I went to go see it, even with all the problems I have. So it's just not a perfect movie. I think it's unfair to say that this is a 9 or 10 movie.
I would not rate it that.
So if we were to say, of all of the movies in the last 10 years or so, what percentile would you rate this movie on entertainment?
I don't like using that scale because I think that's really unfair, because what we rate as a 9 or 10 now is what would be a 5 or 6 20 years ago, and that's not fair.
Hey, not necessarily.
I don't know if it's not fair. It's maybe you don't find it relevant. I think it's relevant. I think that's the point. Is like I watch movies, entertainment TV to be entertained. If I'm not entertained, I don't have any value for it. I'm not a critic.
That's the point of entertainment. Yes, I agree with you there, but I just don't think it's not a good faith argument, in my opinion. Just say, because everything else has been shit, this is really good as a result. I don't think that is a fair assessment of how to judge a film now.
I agree.
I
just don't think this film is that bad.
I agree with you. Yeah. I don't think it's that bad. I think it was.
I try to judge it on its own merit.
5.5 and 6 isn't bad. I don't think that's bad. It's just average.
If I saw a 5.5 on IMDb, I'd be like, "Fuck, I'm not watching that pile."
Like that's in like the yellow area for me. That's not the red area. Anything with a 7 or higher is green, and then
I think Vex has got a very subjective rating system here.
One of the major things for me in like trying to rate a movie is, would I watch this again?
Yeah.
And like almost everything I watch now, no, I will not watch this again. I would legitimately watch this again and be happy to do it.
I want to watch it again. I'm excited to watch it again.
Agreed. 100%.
I would only watch the assembly cut if I watch this again.
I would rather see that.
With
Vex, you want to talk
CGI?
about bad pacing? It's gonna be like that's every shot they ever shot in a row.
Just, know
it's
what
awful.
it is, Matt? You know what it is? Why I wouldn't be able to sit through at least this cut again is that first half of the movie is such a drag to get past, because
And you want it longer?
No, hold on. Let me finish.
Okay.
But like that first half, because the editing was so choppy and it skates through stuff so quickly,
And I love it.
I found myself in the theater having a hard time just sitting there and trying to immerse myself in the film, because personally for me, I just could not get into the rhythm of the film for almost an hour. So like thinking about that and remembering that greatly lowers my desire to want to rewatch this.
But
I would like to see the longer cut.
An assembly cut is a technical piece.
Right.
Of,
So
it's
I
not
would
a-
like
it's
to
not-
see that
like,
because
there's
I
no
can tell they cut
pacing.
out so much.
They cut it's every shot. Like it's everything
That's fine.
they shot. Yeah.
Because I've read the interviews of Lord and Miller saying like we had this 4-hour cut of the film, but the studio execs wanted us to cut it down as much as we could,
But
and
that's
this
every
is what we
movie.
got.
That's
right,
every
but
movie though.
I can tell that there is so much cut out of this that actually would have improved the film. I feel like there's stuff that should have been left in this film that
that's
would have made my rating
subjective.
higher.
Would you like
but,
to
I
see
mean,
a director's
but that's-
cut
that's where
versus
the
the
edited-
assembly cut?
I
That's
see
where the
both of those.
editor's hand comes in. That's what the editor does. I mean, it's
Vex,
precisely
how
their
many
job.
times do you go see Nosferatu in the theaters?
No comment.
It was more or less than 8.
The restraining order forbids her from answering. My client is unavailable to do that.
I mean,
My attorney has advised me.
That
Yeah.
movie is like a 6.5 or 7, right? But like I really thoroughly enjoyed it, so I went and saw it 4 times in the theater.
okay, 4 times.
But doesn't
Sorry.
that count for
thought
something?
it
For
was
me, that
more.
counts for a lot.
I
Like,
can't.
I
I
can-
feel like
I
because
find that less
subjectivity, there's no
interesting.
scale. That's why you like when I look at movie reviews, I'm not looking for did I get excited for this or did a person like get smile at this scene. I want to know like I focus more on the technical stuff. And like for me, when I'm watching a film or a show or reading a book, themes and character arcs are something that is at the forefront for me. Like that shapes whether I end up enjoying something or not. So like that's just where I'm coming at.
I can
from.
love a thing that I
There's a
know
lot
is
of
not
things
great.
in that
Like,
movie,
okay,
Ben.
my favorite. Here's a good example. My favorite show ever is The Expanse. I've watched it like I don't know 30 times, whatever it is. I love it. The guy who plays Holden, like if he's not being like the charming, nice captain, his acting is pretty bad.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty. Yeah.
It's not great at all. But I don't care. Like, you know what I mean? It's like that doesn't bug me. It's like I can recognize technically that is not good acting. Someone who spent 15 years doing it. It's like, okay, but I don't give a shit. It's my favorite thing ever.
That's
I
fine.
love it.
Again, and like I said,
But do you
one of my
understand, like,
favorite
to me,
movies
it's
is not
like
a good
after
movie.
After a while, though, those subjective qualifying who fucking cares?
That's
It's
you though,
good.
Matt. That's
Right.
how you see entertainment.
Right.
I'm just
Yeah,
this is
that's
how
what
I
I'm-
see entertainment.
Yeah,
And there's
That's
there's
that's
no
all I'm
issue with
saying.
either of
It's
it.
like
yeah.
that's it. And I'm not trying to disqualify what you're saying. To me, it's just like I feel like I just grew out of that. I used to be really about that, like having like a scale and measuring things. It just after a while, I'm like,
That's
if I
fine
love
for you.
it,
It
that's what
adds to the
matters.
enjoyment for me to have that objective. Like that makes stuff
okay.
more enjoyable for me.
Yeah, I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can forgive bad acting. I can forgive some pretty sketchy shots, low budget, all that stuff. If you have a really great story to tell, I'm here for it.
Let's go.
But
Tell me
if
that
you
story,
have a
baby.
story that's a bit mid, okay with it, you're mid.
Yeah, like John Wick.
Well, no, not that one.
Niad has a good point here. Nosferatu was technically a well-made film, but I
Hey.
did not like it. But just because I didn't enjoy it, it would be unfair for me to give it a 5, and that's 1 point away from the failure.
Yeah, I would
Why?
actually,
Why?
I'm not a fan of Nosferatu. I
agree
would
with
rate
that.
higher than that.
Well,
I feel like, yeah, that should also come into
What
your
is
review.
the point of an overall rating?
If I'm talking about things I like, then it's whatever I like, and that can change at any time. If it's objective, it's okay. What is the story, and then how do the visuals and everything else contribute to delivering that story?
Okay,
The
but
point of a rating, right, is to try to turn someone else onto it.
Yes.
No, it's to
Right?
evaluate it. No, because again, in the same way that you say,
Or
well,
to
I don't really
inform-
care about objective means it's only what I care about.
No, but
Nobody
I think like
cares what I
abstractly.
think about a movie, just in the emotional sense.
But I think Alex is asking abstractly, like why.
I want to
even
hear
rate the
Alex
movie?
finish his thought. if
Yeah,
possible.
finish your thought, Alex.
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, is the point of rating a movie not to communicate to others how much they're going to enjoy this movie? Like, is
No.
that
But-
not?
Yes and no. Yes, it because like Matt had said with the IMDb argument, if he sees anything with like a 6, like he thinks it's kind of shit, right? But again, it's also a no because it depends on what do you count when you rate things? If your rating is simply I really enjoyed this and I had fun and I'd watch it again, you might give something a 9, whereas someone else just be like, I thought this was a good film. I might watch it 1 or 2 times again. It was very beautifully put together. Therefore, I give it a 6 or a 7 sort of deal. So again, you end up falling back into subjectively, how do people put together their scores and what makes up their score? So it's a yes and a no answer.
Yeah,
I think I'm more the former sort of person.
if what the idea is, well, what is the quality of the film, whether you like it or not. Citizen Kane is a very high quality film, and I can't stand watching
Oh,
that
it's
movie.
so dull. But I can
right.
recognize that the cinematography was, landmark. I respect that.
I recognize the story and the depth and what
I
they're
feel
dealing with and all that.
Same
and
way
I
about
think
2001. 2001 is a chore to get through, but I recognize objectively it's an artistically valuable film.
Yeah, and I can say a movie like The Father is a brilliant piece of cinema, and the decisions they make as far as like direction and choice, they literally kind of immerse the audience as having Alzheimer's, which is a really fucking uncomfortable thing. And it is a movie I don't want to watch again because emotionally it will drain your ass.
Yeah.
But it is a fantastic movie. I'm going to rate it high. Do I like it enough that I'm going to watch it again? No.
That's fair. Yeah.
Well, there are certain movies, and we've mentioned Marriage Story, where the purpose of the movie is not to really entertain you or, be rewatchable. It's to pass on a message. And I think, when a film is trying to do that, you can rate it on how it accomplishes that. But if the point of a movie, and, this is one of them, is to be entertaining, I think it's only really fair to judge it on how it accomplishes being entertaining.
So the movie that you were talking about that you weren't actually entertained by is like a 0 because there was no entertainment to it.
Which movie?
Marriage Story is the example.
Marriage Story.
Used.
So I would look at Marriage Story differently. A Marriage Story is not trying.
Bergman?
Hold on. That's a movie.
It is.
Is that the Bergman
It was
film?
my understanding that movies have to have entertainment.
There are some movies that
Oh,
are not. Goodwin, did you not listen to the last 2 paragraphs that I spoke?
I did. What I'm hearing is that you suddenly go, well, actually, the scale could be sliding when I need it to be.
No,
With this one, I'm trying to defend it on entertainment value.
There are certain
I was
movies,
0 entertained in that movie. I would not rate it high in that regard, but I say?
But
That's the Adam Driver.
Right, but as a movie, how would
There are
you?
certain movies that are trying
As
to
the technical
entertain you.
cinema,
There are
sure,
other
it has my
movies
mark.
that are trying to put on a message. When they made A Marriage Story, nobody thought this is going to be an incredibly entertaining movie that people are going to watch over and over again.
It might be for some people, but again, this is a subjective scale, like rating system that you're using now.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
A Marriage Story is maybe a objectively competent film to you, but subjectively, it's just not one that entertained you. But there could be people subjectively who are highly entertained by it and would gladly watch it again while also agreeing with you on the objective thing. So that's why I can't really take entertainment value seriously sometimes.
As opposed to looking at a script in isolation and giving it a number on a scale of 1 to 10 and claiming you're objective?
Well, you're just picking out one thing that I say I include in a rating. One of them is the script, but there's a lot of other things.
Okay, so let's include 8 other elements of making a movie. You go and you give each one a rating, and then
all
you
together
move on?
it's like putting a pizza together. All right, if I'm just getting just dough, that's not a pizza to me, but it's all the toppings and how you make the sauce and how you end up putting it together and the temperature you cook it at that ultimately makes the pizza. And I see a film as the same way.
If you subjectively rank 10 things on a scale of 1 to 10 and then mash them into one number, that doesn't automatically become an
but the
objective
pizza analogy
scale.
is a good the pizza analogy is a good analogy because imagine it has anchovies on it and you don't like anchovies. It's that doesn't make it subjectively bad. It just means you don't like anchovies.
There, yeah.
And even when pizza is pretty shitty, it's still, whatever, it's okay.
But if the purpose of giving something a rating is to let other people who directionally agree with previous takes, letting them know what
well,
they
then
should
honestly,
expect.
Alex, that's subjective to the reviewer.
Exactly.
Of course it is. That's what I'm saying.
We're in a circular argument now.
It's easy, Alex. That's not my goal. My goal is not to go, hey, you
Jay's
like
goal
things
is
I
to let
liked
everyone
before.
know how smart
Here's some
he
more
thinks he is.
Here's some more things I like. That's narcissism.
Correct.
I want to trick people into watching stuff I like.
No, I like to share. No. Actually,
care if it's
I don't really think about any of this shit.
I don't think it's narcissistic, Jay. It's if there's something I like, I want to share it with other people because I want them to have the same feeling that I had. It's not that's not narcissism. It's
Right,
it's
but why would you think
joy.
that they would have the same feeling you had?
Because
I
if they
can't. I
value
don't
your
know
opinion
that they
enough to
would, but
listen to
I had
your
a great
opinion-
feeling, and I want to share that good feeling with other people.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
It's like,
okay.
Christ,
here's a really
Jay.
great example. Like,
No,
do you
no,
need
no,
a hug or something? Like,
no,
why?
so-
you
no,
think
so-
other people feel the way you do? Why you fucking piece
Yeah,
of shit?
legit. That's exactly what I'm saying, because the idea is not to live in an echo
Jay,
chamber, which
get a
Will is
hug.
talking about. Hey, look, people that share my opinion. I shared my opinion with them, and now they believe it. The
need to
idea
talk?
is to make
That would be awesome.
to
Is
review
everything
something
okay,
that's go,
Jay?
this is how it is. I don't care if you agree with me or not as far as taste or anything else. I can say this is a great movie. I didn't like
My
it.
opinion.
And it doesn't matter. It's still a great movie. They will then see it. It may connect with them in a wonderful way. And they love the hell out of
That's
it.
more
Right?
narcissistic, I think, to be just
That's
like,
way
even if you
more
don't think it's
narcissistic.
good, it is
That's
great.
pretty much how I feel about
I
it.
said it's great, and therefore it is, and I don't care what you think. That's way more
here's a
narcissistic.
good
No,
example.
again, there's
I
a
don't know,
difference
man.
between
It's like,
I
I think-
like a thing and it is good.
Well, I think like to a point, you got to like trust your own taste and like, I like this for these reasons, and I'm telling you why I disliked it for these reasons. And I mean,
Gone to war
no
with
one
everyone on
can
this
going
show
to
about
change
how much
that.
John Wick sucks. I've gone to war with everyone on this show for how much John Wick
Yeah.
sucks. But I still,
Thank you. He hasn't gone over it with me, by the way, which I disagree with his take on John Wick.
but if you like it, it's like good. That's how I feel. It's like great. Enjoy it. I
feel
don't
like
care.
We shared
Yeah.
these opinions. For example, we recently went to a book club last night that we were talking about Dungeon Crawler Carl with a bunch of people that were like arguably very different from us. Like they were sort of shit libby people that were just introduced themselves with their pronouns. And
Oh my
but
God,
like
really?
we like talked about what we liked about the book and things that we connected with it, and it was a cool way because by expressing our opinions about it, it let us connect with other people, and then we can share what universal thing in this story that connects with people and just brings people together. That's why I think it's cool. I don't know.
Well, if you're saying it's universal, then it's objective, so that's a problem.
I was going to say too. I think that makes a lot of sense, Lady. And also, like, we could disagree, and it still brings us together.
Yeah, you can
Like,
talk
we can
about
we can get
something,
different
yeah.
things out of the same stuff. Yeah.
Has
Like,
anyone
we're
ever
doing
seen
it.
Has anyone ever seen the movie High Fidelity?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I feel like Jay is one of the guys in the record store just judging everyone, going through like their records, be like, "You don't understand the genius of this record."
Come on.
And if somebody goes, I like
It's
it.
not
I'm like,
even
"That's cool."
subjective. It's objectively perfect, and if you don't get that, that's your problem.
Nope.
That is not what he said.
No, it's not.
Don't defend him, Jay.
You can say I like my 5-year-old strumming on the guitar, but when you say it's as good as Jimmy Page, you and I are going to have a talk.
No 5-year-olds.
Is
what's
Jimmy
up,
Page
MC?
better than the guy that he ripped off half his music from?
Ryu, thank you. Let's be for
Which
let's
one?
everyone be
All
fully
of the blues
persuaded
artists?
in
Oh,
their
the
own
black
minds.
people he stole that music from.
Exactly.
I got
They
Jay.
don't look.
You
They were
haven't seen me
3/5
in
of
a
a
while.
man anyway. What are we talking
I got.
about?
Come
That's what Jana means when she says show butthole, by the way.
That's awesome. That's great.
Rectum hell,
There we
kill them
go.
both.
Thank you, Ryu, and hello, Sherry, and
That
MC
was
Can't Be
fantastic.
You fan, but mostly Sherry. Hi. Much better avatar than anything can't be. But thanks for coming. Appreciate you. Thanks for coming by.
I thought we were all going to agree on this one. This is really
I
interesting.
didn't. I thought we might, but then, I think it's better that we don't. I think it's better conversation than just glazing
Yeah,
it.
it's
But I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I don't.
I loved
No
it.
one's gonna change my mind. I don't think. No one in the chat's gonna be changed their mind either. Go see it. See
I
for
like
Yeah,
the
yourself.
one
I mean-
in the book.
If
David
somebody was on and saying this was like get a 2 or a 3, I'd be lighting them up just as hard.
Like, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
it's
would
just
disagree
that's
with that.
just
yeah.
insanity. And again, if you're just saying, "Well, I didn't like it," and it's 2 or 3, bro. I can't. We're arguing like our favorite
No.
colors. What are we talking about?
Nobody said
but
it
if-
was outright bad. It wouldn't be interesting to talk about.
But if
it
you're telling me it's a
was
bad movie, then I'd be like, no, it's not.
Can I ask Jay and Vex, because I actually don't remember this from the book. My recollection of the end is that he's just in like a geodesic dome on the planet. Did he have like that whole area with like a beach and everything? Like I felt like they added that for the movie. Am I
I
right
don't
about
remember
that?
them describing a beach, but I remember him with the students and it being a dome and all that stuff.
Yeah, to me it just seemed like it was like a house, like one dome in the middle of this like awful sulfuric acid, super high pressure world. And I was like, that sounds like a living nightmare. Because also they don't describe Rocky as like a rock. They describe him as a rocky spider.
Yes.
Right. He even says, "Oh, so Rocky's a spider." So I'm just like, so this guy lives in a like hellscape inside of a dome, and then
With
he
the
looks
spider
at
people.
spiders all day. I was like, that
Yeah.
sounds like a
Yeah.
nightmare.
Well, when you put it that way.
Not only is it that, also gravity is double what it is on Earth.
Yeah, it's what, like
Yeah.
2.6 times. Yeah,
So
so
he's
he's
gonna die.
They played
Yeah.
it off
In
as like
Earth.
a happy moment.
That
I was
wasn't
like,
in the
this
movie.
sounds awful.
well. There's
That's
also
his happy
there's
ending?
also a kind of a wait what in the movie when Grace goes on to Rocky's ship and suddenly has like a form-fitting shield that moves with him in the same way that Rocky does when he goes into the environment. So why the hell was Rocky running around in a hamster ball for most of the movie, and then suddenly he's got stuff that would actually form fit and wouldn't have him tumbling around and making a mess of being cute?
In the words
Remotely
of the
formed.
scientist from Alien Earth, science.
Oh, no.
Science, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that didn't even occur to me. But yeah, now that you mention it, that doesn't make
It
a lot of
was an
sense.
awkward walk. I'll give it. I'll
Yeah,
give it
it
that.
was-
It was a very awkward walk. He could barely move on the ship.
Yeah,
If
but
you
Rocky
remember.
is running around like just a dog
Once they get
in the
to
final
Earth,
shot,
though.
right?
Once they get to their planet, he had more time to work on it. You'd have to assume.
Right, but he was able to make it for Grace,
But it was
Yeah.
really awkward. It
And-
wasn't a functional.
as
suit.
opposed to rolling in a ball.
Right.
I've
Yes.
seen it work. But rolling the
Yeah.
ball was functional.
He could make a ball for Grace.
But I think for size was, you couldn't put him in a ball.
Oh.
Yes, the
You couldn't put him in a
there.
ball.
Make
It
a
wouldn't
ball
work.
for Grace.
Mhm.
Rolling in the ball is the vertical streaming of transportation.
That's
It
right.
is.
There you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's only for pets like this rock guy.
Yeah.
That's
It
it.
was either that or a
Everyone else-
unicycle. They couldn't decide.
I think it's interesting though. We all take different stuff from this movie, and you guys were talking earlier about disposing of the bodies and that whether or not that meant anything. And he gave the speech, but I actually took that to be that because he was the guy who was always alone. That he was the guy who could most well adjust to being all of a sudden alone in a place where he didn't understand what was going on with people who are dead, who were dead, who he didn't care about. Maybe he did, whatever. But I took that to be consistent with his character that he was
That he's
fine to
autistic and
move
he doesn't
on.
care about people.
autistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
He's used to being alone, right? And that's some people are like that.
You
There are
have
people
to-
out there who are alone, Jay. We don't want them to
Yeah.
hurt
So
themselves.
Jay, if
Yeah,
you need to
Jay.
talk-
if he had just had a
You
rock
know?
puppy, it'd be fine.
I just think.
I feel like you just to your point, Zax, in the film at least, you have to jump to that conclusion because again, the film spends so much time jumping through the setup that Ryland Grace isn't actually established as a character. He is simply a thing to help you move from scene to scene to establish the backstory. And then it isn't till we get to Rocky that we start to see some form of character. But even that character is more, it's just a lot of jokes. There's so much humor that they throw into those early scenes with Rocky. So I get how you can interpret that. I just don't think the film does a good job of establishing it.
I really don't think it's a wild step to make the assumption that a human being cares about the life of another human being, even in the abstract.
I just think that he was able to move on.
Wild jump to be able to shit on this movie for.
He missed nobody.
I'm not shitting on. Okay, let me clarify. I'm saying that it's a fault of not developing
Dad.
Ryland Grace. And this is a common sense thing. You assume if you are a human being that you automatically care about other human beings. That's just an assumption. But if you're able to build Ryland up, like, oh, he is lonely and he kind of has this moral dilemma about just how much he cares about other people, which is evident when they have to drug him and force him on the spaceship. I think you can do that a little bit better. Like that is a fault of the storytelling.
So, and I guess this is where I'm.
What's up, Papa?
How would you do this better? Like I know in the book they have the scene like, I have to continue working on the project because I care about the kids,
The children, yeah.
Is that such a at the risk of that seems fairly intuitive to me.
I disagree with if we're talking about the film. I really do feel that with some of your assessments, you're letting the book explanations cloud how the film actually shows it.
I watched the movie before I read the book.
No, but I do feel that the book is influencing now how you're interpreting the film because the film really does not do a good job at establishing motivations for Ryland in the first half specifically.
I mean, in what like, okay, there's two parts of the first half. There's the part where he is on the spaceship and he's waking up and he's figured out what he's trying to do, in which his motivation is, continue the survival of the human race, which is again, I feel like
that's not a motivation. That's the plot of the movie. So the plot of the movie needs to keep moving forward. So what they do is they take Ryland Grace and they skate over all of the instances of him orienting himself in space and understanding where he is and getting his memory back, and instead use him as a pawn to show you this happened, then this happened, then this happened, and now he's in space and he meets his best Pokemon ever.
To be fair, I feel like the book is doing the same thing. It's like it goes through the same thing, and it's like it's a nice way to give an info dump. That's one way to do it for sure.
I would again, I didn't like the book either, but to the book's credit, and this is how I would probably rewrite the first 30 minutes at least, is instead of doing the super choppy and sharp jump cuts where Ryland is waking up and he opens the shuttle and everything, I would spend a little bit more time showing just how disorientating it is for him to suddenly wake up in space with no recollection, and to kind of get the snippets of flashbacks before we jump into full flashbacks of like the science team, of him just like vaguely remembering faces, vaguely remembering voices, because that's what the book did a very good job of, because there was a lot of time that we spent on Ryland trying to remember not just who he is, but where he was, what he's good at, what he even likes. Like he was, even when he wakes up in the book, he's like, I have muscles. Like he thought that was absolutely shocking. So I think
all that was majorly compelling in the book. Like, and I didn't realize it seeing the movie first, but yeah, like afterward, it's like, damn, we really needed this.
Yes.
He writes muscles on the whiteboard.
Yeah, and you see that in like a half-second jump cut that he wrote that.
I'm sorry that the movie trusts the audience to figure shit out. I'm sorry that it doesn't.
The movie doesn't do that.
Alex, it doesn't do that. And that's not fair, because it's like it does. That was something I noticed I felt was jarring in the movie, where it was like they sped run through this and they did play it mostly for a joke, where it's like the computer, like the robot's like in his face and he's like, "Ah, get away from me." But like in the book, it's actually like a scientific, like they built this as a like a feature. Like if you can't get past this, you can't get onto the next part of the ship, like to know that you're competent, your brain's working right. So it was like this thing he had to overcome, and each little bit he had to like muscle his way through and to kind of come back into who he was, and he earned each little moment. And I feel like the movie just plays most of that for jokes, and then or it speed runs it, and it doesn't actually develop it in a way, because I remember even watching the trailer thinking like, like I get it, they have to tell the story, but the most interesting part about reading the novel was learning about why he's there, because he wakes up in a spaceship and you don't know who he is, you don't know why he's there, and the movie kind of does this a little bit, but you saw the trailer so you already know. But it's like to watch him figure out, oh, I'm in a spaceship. Why am I in a spaceship? And then to learn all that, and then to learn about the backstory, and it all to kind of come back in these little flashes. That was really interesting, because each moment was earned. And then like once he had to come to grips with like, oh, I have to save the world. Like these were big moments in the book, and I feel like they just ran through them real quick just so the audience could be like, okay, here's the movie, let's get going.
And just to address your point too of like the movie trusts the audience, it doesn't trust the audience. It assumes that the audience will not stay long enough and be entertained by this, so they need to jump cut and show you flashing images so that you stay invested, because
I agree.
Like algorithmically, that's what keeps like audiences attached to screens using just streaming data. So the movie doesn't trust you at all, and it slows down once it knows that you are fully like visually engaged with the film.
Yeah, I think you're right. I really think you're right.
Man, I want to argue against that, but like I'm having a hard time.
Like, can you give me an example of the movie really feeling the need to hammer something home to the point that it's obnoxious?
I didn't ever say that or point that out. I don't think anyone did.
No, I think it was quite the opposite.
Like it was
okay.
It cuts through things. It jump cuts through things. It doesn't let things settle, and it doesn't
the example
trust the audience.
I gave earlier, Alex, of the language being developed almost instantly. It was like he has a computer, he puts in one little sound bite, and then all of a sudden he can speak to Rocky. Like in the book, that took time. I understand books and movies are different, but these things felt more earned in the book.
They developed the character.
And
And the
That is
relationship
a
and
fun that
therefore
should
their
happen.
relationship, yeah, it just felt like they rushed it. Look, I'm not shitting on this movie. I liked it a lot. I loved it, but I do think these criticisms are valid.
It gives an emotional
That
context.
criticism of the communication is, I'm not sure that like adapting more of what was in the book, except maybe like his figuring out that he has to do stuff and showing that he's competent, maybe would change this. I don't know.
You don't have to show every single moment of the book. This is like the job that you have when you're adapting a book to a film, right?
You have to trim down things, but still achieve the character moments that you need to get people invested in the character and to understand the relationships and to establish the movie characters are much different.
Right, and this is why I'd like to see what the original cut of the film was, because I do have the sense with how accurately Lord and Miller did adapt this for the screen, like the novel stuff, that there was a lot that the execs were just like, this is too long, trim this, trim that, trim this, trim that, right? So I would really like to see what the original cut of this film was, and I do feel that that would probably fix 90% of the issues I have with it.
I wanted to state.
I just think those things are valid. That's all.
I wanted to state Alex's point. I think both things can be true. Then, like, yes, we wanted more emotional context. Like, I didn't realize again at the time, but yeah, in hindsight, after reading the book, certainly. But also, like, yeah, the audience, I think you could intuit that even if you don't understand where he's coming from exactly, that he feels the emotional weight, for instance, of like having to jettison the only other human beings around. They're now dead, and it's just him by himself. I mean, I feel like, that kind of speaks for itself in a way.
The movie assumes that you are going to fill in a gap because they didn't show it to you. And they assume that because, you're probably a normal human being, this is probably how you would also feel. But in doing that, you take away any sort of development for Ryland Grace as a character, particularly in the first hour. This is
like,
why
you didn't find there any tragic sense in him not knowing who these people were and having I don't know. It was
so quick that I didn't care, that I didn't even pick up on it.
He actually makes a joke while he's doing the thing, because again he talks about Niobe, for the vodka.
There you go. Yeah, it's not even a truly poignant moment, because
it's
they're just like
gallows humor.
You can write it however you want. The problem is he did a bunch of slapstick before, and he does a bunch of slapstick after. And it just all is of a piece. It doesn't linger on it. He doesn't really show any much. He's like, okay, I'm going to look up some stuff about these people, read some general things, and then bye.
I don't remember.
I'll grant that it doesn't land it doesn't land really square. I'm sorry. You go ahead, buddy.
I'm sorry. I'm interrupting, but I just, in the book, actually, as I'm recalling now, these were tragic moments because he did remember them as he had to get rid of their bodies.
Right, because he had to earn it.
It was sad because he was piecing, because he had amnesia and he was piecing it all together. So he had the impact of their death. It wasn't just like, well, this is inconvenient and whatever. In the book, it was more tragic, and he realized, oh my God, this was my friend from when we were training in the mission, and it was tragic. That's a choice, I guess you can argue. I don't know if that's necessarily one of the more fundamental problems with the movie. I don't even think there's that many problems, but there's things that are.
It wasn't a problem for me.
It's kind of a symptom.
They rushed a lot.
It's an example of a bigger issue. That's what it is. So it's not that just because they didn't do that one thing with the bodies, that destroy. It's one example of how the film fails to establish him properly as a character, and also to establish actual stakes outside of, Earth is gonna die. But that's a plot point. That's not a stake.
Yeah, I mean,
it's absolutely a stake. I'm sorry.
But yes, here's the problem with that then, Alex, because by the time we get to the end of the film where we see the flashback conversation with the German woman and he's forced in, it turns out that the fate of the world doesn't really fucking matter to Ryland Grace.
Did you think it really didn't matter, or that he just couldn't handle it and he was freaking out? Because I think the problem with this is that I fundamentally do not like this character at the beginning, and I think that's why it's kind of told in flashbacks, because if you just met him before this took off, you'd be like, this guy is an asshole.
I thought it came off as the latter, Lady B.
That he was
an
asshole?
Just don't like him, or he's an asshole.
Oh no, that
That was
Because
he an
to me,
asshole?
it
He
was
Whatever
like
the
a
latter
character?
was.
in reverse. And there was a part, like, I haven't read it yet, that I wish it would have been in the book because it would
Mhm.
kind of make his character like reversal at the end where he's more likable than he is when he's a coward make a lot more sense. And like Alex was saying, that's like apparently in the book he realizes that the reason why the other two people on the ship are dead is because he didn't check things before they left or something like that. So that makes
Because he
No.
was knocked out before everybody else.
or something like that. I
He
don't know.
survived because he had like some gene or something.
No.
Yeah.
But they all
She
did.
kept him around because he had the gene.
Right.
What
Right.
happened was he was going through like his notes or whatever, and he said like, I don't really love this feeding tube design. I need to make a mental note to go check on this later. And then the building exploded, and he never
Right.
went back and made the check on the feeding tube design. So the implication is at least one of the two starved because the feeding tube design broke.
But there's in the book, it's never explicitly stated. It's just you're given hints as to why the two others on the crew would have died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
See,
don't remember it being anything all that impactful, just more that it happened.
It happened.
I
Yes.
watched
Yeah.
a different movie, I think, than you guys did because I haven't read the book and I don't know the rest of the story. But I really did take his character to be different than what you guys are describing. I took him to be a guy who took a shot, failed, probably was autistic. But for real, like my kid's autistic, so like I thought that's what they were going for with it, and that he had built a life that was relatively safe, risk-free,
Mhm.
and he was in
Yeah.
defined roles. Like being a teacher to young children is not like a risky role for him. And he cared about the kids, but he didn't really care about the kids that much. It was a defined role where he could come and go during the day. He could have contact with people, but he wasn't with those people.
I think
They
you're
weren't his friends.
interpreting a lot there
I am.
with the kids
I
from
agree
what the
with
film
that,
gives you.
But I haven't read the books. That's what I interpreted.
Oh
from
no,
watching
I like
the movie.
No,
I'm trying
like,
to
that's what I'm
approach
saying.
this
But
from a
even
this
from
is what
the
the film shows. Yeah.
I don't know where you're getting that.
Which
kind of-
kid? Which kids was he the closest with?
Well, but that's not necessarily to say he doesn't care or that he found like a comfortable niche in his life. Like I don't know where you're getting
I think
any
he
of that.
created that niche. He could
I
he
think
could have got.
that's-
Any
No.
I think
other
you're
job.
projecting that.
I think
know
you're
why.
projecting that
that's
too.
absolutely a fair interpretation.
Yeah, it was
Based on
really
what?
As a galaxy-brained, high IQ scientist guy,
that got burned by the establishment.
so he got burned, and rather than try and continue fighting, continue doing what he was doing, he retreated to the safety of public education.
I mean, yeah, that's
I
not
don't
to
think he
say
was
that
in-
he doesn't care about the kids and he found a
Not-
comfortable niche. It's
but-
like he found a way to
Sure.
survive.
But he wasn't like teachers teach different kids every year, so I'm sure he liked those kids. But he picked his role. He wasn't taking any of their shots. He didn't want to take risks, but he did help. Like he was a guy who everyone's saying he was an asshole because he wouldn't go on the ship at the end, but he helped every step of the way, and he volunteered to help after that. And I think that the redheaded chick saw enough in him to know that if I
Yeah.
put him on this rocket, he will do the right thing when he wakes up.
Well,
I don't think he was
she
an
also
asshole.
has
I think
no
he was
other
a
option.
pussy. I don't even think he was an asshole.
I think it was a pussy. Yeah, he was
And
scared.
I think it's
he was
also
scared he'd fail.
it's why I don't like it because it's kind of like, wait, you're telling me that this hero is a type of guy who actually has the know-how and the ability to save humanity, but chooses not to and will then sit on Earth while everyone dies alongside him, knowing he could
Agreed.
have affected that outcome?
He doesn't know
Like,
that though.
I
Like,
hated
he
that in
doesn't
the
believe
book
him-
and I hate it in the movie. I
He
just
doesn't
don't
believe
like
in
it.
himself. I don't pick up on that.
So
fact that
what?
I don't think, but he doesn't believe in
You're
himself.
you're
so
asked,
he doesn't
it's like
think
it's
that.
like being asked by God. It's like you're literally the only person to do this. Like you're
Right.
gonna then back down. Like what kind of a man are
wasn't
you?
God.
If you don't get on the
He wasn't asked
spaceship,
by- he
then
wasn't
you
asked by
should be
God.
killed.
He was asked by a ginger he didn't really know who said, you
no,
can
but
do
it's
this.
like she's like
It's not God.
obviously an empath. I didn't
knows-
say she
so do you-
was
do you
God,
think-
Zach.
do you think he
I'm
knows himself?
equating it. I'm
You think he
equating
knows
it.
he's failed before.
No, he's
He
the only.
He wasn't.
But Zach's in this
he thought
situation.
he would fail.
Zach,
right?
I get that, Zach's, but in this situation, he's literally
So
the
if
only.
you thought you would fail, you'd do it anyway.
Zach.
Even though you thought you'd fail.
Okay,
You
but
take that
I'm
chance?
telling you, Zach's based on the context of the film, he's literally the only guy for the job. It's not like there's a list of guys that he can pass this job on to. He's the only one who can do it, and he's saying no.
So
That's not a hero. Like
but
if
that's,
you're
It's not a hero,
Grace,
but
that guy
it's
should then be
realistic.
killed. Like
But
that
he
guy
doesn't
should
think
then
he's
be
the best
killed.
for the job. Like
if
Matt,
you're Grace,
if I
and
put you on
feel
the
like
field to
you
kick a
have
field goal, a
0%
60-yard field goal,
chance
you
of
can't kick field goals. It doesn't matter that I said you could do this. Even if
But
you know, I
but
can't do this.
if someone put it up to me and was like, Matt,
One
you're
person.
the only person who has a shot at kicking this field goal to
Yeah.
save everyone on Earth, I would take the kick.
and then you would miss.
If you were
Okay, I'd miss, but I'd try.
If
That's
you're
like,
better
he
than
didn't even
nobody
try.
taking the kick at all.
It's
If
better than saying,
you're-
I don't know how to kick a field goal. Find somebody else.
if
No, there
you're
is
great-
nobody else. Again, so
Well,
it's
no.
it's either you take the
But
kick
that's
or
not-
nobody does.
This
If
is
you believe
literally.
if you're Grace
that-
and you feel like
I
there
mean,
is
that's
a
the plot of the
0%
One at a
chance
time!
that you will be successful, it makes sense to say no, pick somebody else. I don't care if it's another random microbiologist. I know in my heart I'm not this guy.
That's fine.
I
yeah.
will fail,
That's
which
what he
is
said.
what he feels.
But
That
not what
it
he
makes-
says.
You don't
But
have
she
to-
makes it
But we
so
know that's
clear
true.
he's the only guy.
We
She
know that's
makes
true.
it so clear he's the only one.
He said, "I'm not the guy."
And his feelings
that
that,
to her.
he himself
Am I wrong?
But-
is
but,
not
like-
the guy.
She even gives him time to think about it, and he would rather sit on Earth while
doesn't
while
think
all
he's
these
the guy.
kids he claims to care about die alongside him.
He doesn't think he's the
He
guy to
just
do
doesn't believe in himself.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
God.
that's
What
not
is
the
that
type
so
of that's
hard?
not a hero.
it. He's
Well,
not a
but-
I know,
hero.
that's what I'm saying.
He's an
That's what I'm
autistic
saying. I
science
don't
nerd.
like him for
Yeah.
that reason.
I
not
don't
a
like that
fucking
writing
astronaut.
choice.
Well, he's
And
not
I
a
won't
hero.
ever like that writing choice.
Well,
It's just
the
not,
problem again is if
He
that was
becomes a
it,
hero.
if
yeah,
it was
the
purely a
world's full
matter,
of selfish pussies. They're not going to save us all.
yeah, I mean,
It's
again,
not
if it was
selfish.
if it was
That
purely a
is.
matter of what they portrayed, is that he didn't believe in himself because he had failed at a
Right.
high level and all this stuff, right? That'd be great, but that's not what they show.
Yeah,
Right?
it
He
is.
does the
Yes,
I'm
it
not,
is.
I'm not the guy for the job. Oh, I want to be
haven't
here for
read
my
the
kids.
book. I'm not
Actually, I'm afraid of death. That's what's in the movie.
He's
So he just
making
the
excuses.
the,
He's
the
said
I'm
numerous
not the
times
guy
while he's with the
sounds like
military
his
people.
first. No, when he says I'm not the guy, that's the first thing he says. Then he starts coming up with better excuses all the time, and it sounds like what he's really, because his last one is I don't want to die. That's
He
what it
said-
sounds like his actual motivation is. At
But
which
the-
point I go, "Are you an idiot? You're going to die anyway."
But there's a
He
reason we
says,
write
"I'm not
stories
the
about.
guy."
But there's a reason we write stories about heroes, right? Like there's a
became a
reason.
hero.
we-
hero.
That's his arc, though. He goes from being this person that I don't want to do it.
I get
think
that.
I might fail to
Like, I
I'm
understand
not
that.
feeling I'm doing it.
That's-
Lady B,
it's just-
I,
I don't
I'm
know.
not like
Let's give
I'm not
Vex a hand.
unclear about that being the story they're telling. I don't like that choice. That's
Okay,
all.
cool.
Like, there's no way to disseminate this. I get that the arc pays off. I even mentioned that when I first got on the stream. I agree with you. I
But
don't
if you
like
start
it.
as a hero, where's the arc?
You know, start as the hero. You start as the one who steps into the hero. That's the whole point of the hero's journey.
He did
You
when he was,
answer
he
the
woke
call.
up and he answered the call.
He didn't answer.
Sorry,
the
I'm
call.
back
He
now.
didn't answer the call.
He could have taken the morphine.
He was forced.
I was
into the
I
call.
was gonna say earlier that yeah, I agree that he came across as the reluctant hero that had to rise to the occasion. That's how I felt when I was watching.
But that he only becomes a reluctant hero after he's forced on the journey. So it's not really
Right.
a
It's not
hero's journey at all.
Really a hero's journey.
Yeah.
You're not a hero.
Through no choice.
And this was a problem I had with the book as well. I think the film adaptation should have done instead, which actually would have made like Ryland's conversation with the German like hit a lot harder when he says like I'm afraid of dying, is even though he was in your interpretation living a safe life as a teacher, which is more that he was they even say in the film he was basically excommunicated from the scientific community. That's why he became a teacher.
Yeah.
But he has a chance to prove his theory. His theory is proven wrong. But then what he ends up doing is he makes like leaps and bounds in discoveries for the fate of humankind. And the movie should have used that as an opportunity to build confidence in the character so that when he is finally thrust into this journey, you feel like a little more hopeful for where Ryland is going. And you feel more certain of what his character is, aside from just, oh, I like to make Marvel jokes every 10 minutes.
Or give him like a connection to Earth that he doesn't want to leave. Like the fact that he has no connections makes it even
and that's
less
where the
plausible.
students were really helpful, is like he really cared about the students.
I mean, even if
I
it was
don't
like
think
he
it
had
was
a
about
sick
leaving.
mother or like a white something.
Well,
that-
not only that, but you
that's-
have so in the movie you have a scene where he's talking to the other crew who ended up being his crew because he's not supposed to go, but and he's like, "You're so brave," and whatever. He's like, "No, I mean, you know, the reason, you know," he's like, I can never be brave like you. You have to find somebody that you care about enough to do that, and he doesn't on Earth, so he's done. And it gets Rocky, right? But again, that takes away the whole, oh, actually, he didn't trust his ability or anything like that. It's purely, no, I'm not going to take this risk because I don't have anybody I give a shit about.
Like, yeah, just imagine that, like, Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, knocks out Luke because he pussied out to go, like, rescue Princess Leia, and then he wakes up in an X-Wing Falcon, and he's like, well, okay, I guess I got to do it. It's like, it really undercuts the thrust of the story. Like, the point of a hero's journey is you answer the call. And a Drunken
let
Poet
himself
points
be
out,
killed by Darth Vader in the first movie because Luke could do it on his own.
But Drunken Poet points out
that
you're supposed to be reluctant. It's like, yeah, you're supposed to be reluctant, but you do it. Like,
you refuse at first, but then it's compelling. No, he didn't.
Against his will.
What didn't he do except for get on the rocket?
That he didn't answer the call.
The answer of the call.
Why was that the call?
What's the second step of the hero's journey?
That is the call. How is that not the call?
He designed the entire trip, right? All of it. He did the science for it. He built it physically. He was there every day. He has to stay involved in it.
The call is you have to go. That's
he could have gone back to school, right? And he didn't.
No, he was kidnapped and drugged. So he didn't because he didn't have a choice.
He wasn't kidnapped and drugged.
Yes, he was. We watched it happen.
We saw that in the film.
Yeah, he did. He was drugged.
That's not. But so here at the very beginning, he was kidnapped and drugged here.
No,
he was kidnapped and drugged.
to get him on.
That's what I'm talking about at the beginning. He volunteered to go help with the project.
I'm not saying he's irredeemable, Zax. I'm saying the fact that he chose to not save humanity makes him irredeemable.
I think that was the call. He didn't have to do that either.
No, Zax, hold on. His call wasn't to
First
save
of all,
humanity.
No, that's not true. Remember, because when he's at the school, he's got the big fucking. He's got the big military guys right here. They threatened him to get in the car. So no, even at that he had to go. So
and
no.
Hold on, Zax. I think
you have to make him do science.
Hold on, real quick, okay? At this scene that you're trying to point to, remember, the only reason, like, not only were the guards there intimidating him, but the only reason he agreed was not to save humanity. It was so that he could finally prove that the paper he wrote and made him excommunicated from the scientific community was actually right.
And then he proved it wrong.
That's partial. Look, I will confess that it's he didn't necessarily want to go with the government in a black car to a helicopter. Okay, but he did it, and he complied, and he created like a friendship. But the call to being the hero is to get on the ship and go save humanity. That's the call to action.
What is the second step of the hero's journey?
What do you mean the second step? I don't know. Answer that. I'm not sure what you're saying.
The refusal of the call.
Right. And then the acceptance.
But then
he
refused.
He refused. They got rupeed. So there you go. That takes away his ability to accept.
You're supposed to like be reluctant, but then you do it. Like it's just the same way Luke does.
They may have removed his agency.
Traditionally, it's you refuse to do it, and then because you refused the call, something bad happens that basically forces you into your journey.
And that's something that
you to accept it. It forces you
not
to
necessarily.
Give me an example where that's the case.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure I could give you an example.
It kind of happens in Star Wars.
I'm not trying to just
Star Wars.
Well. So again, I'll give Will.
And his family dies, and then he's like, "I will go."
Yeah, because
he says, "I will go. I will do it." He chooses.
Yeah, but again, I mean, to Will's point, that you could have called action, he refuses, and you do have him drugged, and he's thrown on there, right? But at that point, you have to make clear that his motivation is not "fuck this shit, I'm out," or "I don't care about anybody," and that's why I don't have any bravery. It's that the burden on me because I failed before. I don't want this. I mean, humanity cannot depend on me, and they basically go, "Nah, you can do it," and throw him in there, and then you see him come to the realization, "Okay, I'm in it." So my agency's kind of been removed.
This would be like Jesus getting knocked out and then hung up on the cross.
He just wakes up 4 days later with a cake and comes walking out of the cave.
He willingly sacrifices himself.
What Jay's saying is like kind of parallel to
do it. There's no sacrifice.
I was going to say I don't think the circumstances.
He's like, wait, what the fuck? What am I doing up here? Why am I here?
That was it.
Oh shit.
Day one.
I don't think
I guess I gotta die for humanity.
That's a pretty
the point is you answer it. No, it's not. The point is you choose
the only thing he did was
I have
go
a
on the cross.
question.
Jesus.
I have a question.
That's it.
Did you guys
but he
not,
chose it.
He chose it every day.
Because like I took a lot from like that because there was that
There's
whole
an example
section,
for a joke, Zax.
section where he is like he's getting like he's growing as a character, and that he's leading the scientific thing. He's making discoveries.
Yes.
Like did you guys just completely don't think that counts in his character?
And like the
Or
circumstances
that
for
he
how he
cares?
ended up on the ship, they do not preclude him from acting heroically.
I love the movie. I really genuinely love the movie. I just don't like that choice. I didn't like it when I read it in the book. I don't like it when I saw it in the movie, and I'm never going to change my mind about that.
Well, so I would say
So
one
let's
thing.
stop arguing about it.
No, so Lady B, the him being involved in all that stuff, it's because he's acted upon. He doesn't really show agency in the first part of the movie. It is literally other people are okay and do this, and then you do this because I mean when he shows up, he's like, "Well, I can't help you, and you've got all these smart guys or whatever." But he gets pulled it, and they're just default. No, you're in it, and so he is.
That's not
There's
true.
no real point where he goes, "You know what? Yeah, fuck it. I'm in it to win it. Let's go."
He has the agency to beg Strat to stay involved in the program.
And he does a good job.
But to choose not to would mean he would have to make a decision, which means he would have to show agency.
No,
guess what he doesn't do?
She was done with him, and
I wouldn't go that far.
I
wouldn't go that far,
stay
Jay.
involved.
And he does a really good job when he's there. And then he gets these ideas, and he takes out, was it Carl, the black dude? Then they go to the store, and they have like a report.
Carl comes up with the idea.
Making a choice there.
Whatever.
I mean, you guys just
I
think
disagree
it
with
wouldn't
that,
be
Jay.
scary, like to have like some government thugs come up to you and say, like, get in the car, we're doing science. I mean, like,
I'm
no
not
one's gonna
saying
say
it
yes
wouldn't
to
be scary, lady. I'm not saying it wouldn't be scary to
I
get in the
know.
ship and go die. I'm not saying that that's not a horrifying reality. I'm not even saying that I would have the fucking stomach to go do it. My point is, this is a story about a hero, and the hero is supposed to say yes.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I'm good with him. I'm good with him. Again, it depends on his motivation as to why he's there, as to whether or not he's heroic or not. If he doesn't believe in himself, and they're like, "Yeah, fuck it, we're drugging you and throwing you
I want
on."
to hear Vex. She has her hand up. Let's go.
Oh no, I was just gonna answer Lady B's question, like him doing all of the science stuff, and like you were asking, like, does that not contribute to his arc, right? Just to
like how do
right.
That was a big part of it too.
So like because the movie skates through it so quickly, it's not adequately used as a tool to contribute to his arc because you don't really see him fully acknowledging or reacting to what he's doing. He's just doing it because the government needs me to do this for them. So like his choice and his perception of all of it is not included in the movie whatsoever. And this is a really big problem in the first hour when it comes to building his character and building his arc.
Yeah,
but even this scene here, though, he didn't want to. He didn't want to speak here. He said, "I don't want to do this," right? But he did it anyway. Like he still every step of the way.
But that's the point.
He
Zach.
could have said,
"It's the doing it."
But
anyway
it doesn't
when
matter
you don't
because he
wanna
didn't
do it.
voluntarily get on the rocket.
Yeah, that's the fundamental problem I have with it.
No, I don't agree with that at all, man.
If they cut this out, that would make him a better character for you.
No, again, if they actually build his motivation, yeah, if they showed him having agency, if they showed,
I certainly think that would make it a stronger movie. I really do, but I don't feel like
this is
again the circumstances of how he ended up on the rocket make it so he cannot be heroic.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he did more than just that.
I also think I think you
I
guys
feel
are trying
rocket
to.
without his agency.
I didn't like it in the book. I didn't like it in the movie. It's just like, you fucking pussy. Like, it's just not who I want to
I'm in
root
agreement
for.
with you, Matt. I didn't like it in the book either.
Yeah.
Well, to me, this kind of seems like we're trying to hammer a square peg into a round hole here. Like,
but
this is not a traditional
matter.
standard sword and sorcery movie where the hero is the alpha male.
I firmly disagree with that, Alex. And the only reason is because like I'm not like an adherent to the hero's journey because hey, this is what the textbook says and it works in this order. No, I think the hero's journey is about humanity. It's about being a better person. It's about being good for your fellow man. It is about Jesus Christ. It's about these things are they matter for a very like deep and spiritual reason, and it's not simply because it works in a movie. These things are real, and I don't want to be on a battlefield or on outside of a burning house with a firefighter who had to be drugged to be there. I want the guy who said, "Yes, I will run into a burning building to save a family."
He overcame
a guy
his fears, and
who will lead a charge on a battlefield because I have to, because this is what needs to be done. That's what a hero is. A guy
Matt,
who had to be drugged into the situation is not a hero.
Would you say somebody who was drafted into an army and forced to go to war is not a hero?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. But I would say that
what's the difference?
There's a difference between.
They do
there's
have
a
the
difference
choice.
because you have a choice when you get there. There's guys who can cower in a foxhole, and there's
He didn't
guys
have
who
to
can
go-
lead a
he didn't have to
platoon.
go to work every day. He could have. That's a much easier choice than what they have.
No,
They
no,
get a
no.
bullet in the back of the head if they don't go forward.
Again, if I'm drafted, I can at least know I'm going to disobey orders and go to prison where I'll be alive.
Shot in the head, right? He could have
No.
gone to prison. He could have gone home. He could have not gone to work every
He
day.
could have just
at
not
the lab,
done this mission.
right? You have to do any of this stuff. To me,
Again, and this is a failure of the movie because they don't really establish what his motivations are while he's doing the work. He's just there to carry you through the plot beat motions so you have the foundation for the story.
Yeah, like
not the
what kind of a
characters.
We
human
really
being
we keep
has-
going back to that. That's like the
what kind
full
of a
circle.
human being has no human connection on the whole planet? That's
there's lots of
crazy.
people like that, man.
There are not that many people like that, dude.
There are people like that.
I think it might surprise you, man.
Yeah.
Of the weird scientist, autistic goober people.
Yeah.
There's no friend. There's no mentor when they were in like college.
No, because he
nothing?
burned it because he's going to be edgelord and say that
and,
life
and
can
he's
exist
got
without
no mother,
carbon.
no father, no siblings,
Nope,
no
they're all
uncle.
dead.
Would they die in a fucking bomb? Like, come on, man.
They probably
is
put
that the
him
biggest
up for
issue,
adoption
though?
after they
I'm
realized he
just
was
saying
autistic.
it's
I
a
don't know.
bit of a stretch.
Is it?
Yeah.
She scoured the world. So I mean, like the idea that like, oh, it's
Yeah,
a,
you get
it's
6
a,
billion
it's a
choices.
rare
You might be
edge
able to find
case.
one. Yeah.
You know, she went and found the weird edge
But
case.
she found him because he wrote the paper, not because he
Right.
was a loner.
Right.
No, okay. There's a couple things, but she found all of them. She found all of the weird biologists in the world.
But the selection factor had nothing to do with his earthly
because
connections.
he actually did have connections with people. That's the conversation he has with one of the crew
Everyone does.
members.
That's crazy. A priest, nothing. A fucking nurse.
He had the
There's
students.
nothing in your life. You have no. Yeah, like there was no.
Well, he
family
doesn't in the
member through
movie,
this-
Bex.
There was no
Yeah.
parents of
I
the
don't think
kids
so.
that you
I
got
mean,
to
I think
know.
Glazing
Nothing?
over the fact that, like a lot of us, it's like
That's
yeah,
crazy.
We have
The
acquaintances.
principal of the school he worked at. There's no connection. He didn't have any coworker friends. Come on. What are we doing?
Well,
You
I mean,
have
what is
people
the-
you know, but people you know that don't care about you. It's like I recently just went through this in my life where it's like, okay, I thought I had made decent connections, and then I realized that they were just coworkers. And I think a lot of people go through that. It's sort of like a thing of modern life.
Yeah,
But I
a
would wanna
superficial
make-
relationship.
Yeah. They're people
I
you
did-
know, not necessarily friends.
Yeah, and I did want to make the point is like we're all focusing on his refusal to go, but what happens like after he's completed his mission and then he realizes what's happening on Rocky's ship with the contamination, and then he makes the choice to go back knowing that he's basically sacrificing himself. Does that redeem like
That
his
doesn't
initial
matter.
Well, okay, so here's the thing.
He's not a hero.
That because he talked to a crew member who said, "Oh yeah, in bravery, you just have to find somebody that you care about enough or whatever." So basically, the theme of the story is fuck everybody else unless you can find somebody you care about. Then you can be brave, and you be brave for them. But that's
no, that's not the theme of the story.
Don't feel
it. It's exactly
It's
this
not.
movie's theme.
That's
It's
what the second half devolves into, basically. Yeah.
the second
If
half.
that was the case, then why does he even continue on with the experiment?
I was gonna
They already
say,
did. It's when he shows his bravery when he goes for Rocky. That's when he's actually risking his life. All right, here we go.
he
Because
shows
prior to
plenty-
that, it's we're buddies. We're doing this together, and he's trying to save Rocky's planet. Why? Because he cares about Rocky.
Did you go to the bathroom when he went outside of the ship to get the Talmiba samples?
Yes, the one that's going to save Rocky's planet along
And-
with his.
His planet.
Like what?
Yes,
Can
but
I say
again,
something to Zach?
prior to Rocky showing up, he's just
Because
stumbling around.
I think you're misunderstanding me as far as like what I think of like a hero or whatever. Like this is fiction, right? I look at this as like I don't like that the writer chose to write that in there.
Right.
It's not that if this really happened, I wouldn't think the guy was actually a hero. Of course I would. This is a story. It's like, did you ever read the book Ender's Game?
Yeah.
Yes.
The thing that always bugged me about that book was he never lost.
Mhm.
And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like the way that champions get good is they lose, and then they never want to lose again, and they work so hard that they never have to feel that again. It's like, you know, Kobe Bryant showing up at the court every day at 4 a.m. and shooting all day long, and you know, Michael Jordan not making varsity and that burning a hole in his soul for the rest of his life. That just like he was so spiteful. Even after he won the All-Star game, he invited his varsity coach to be like, "Fuck you," like that bugged me because that doesn't reflect reality. That doesn't make sense. It's not real. It's like it's the same thing with this. It's like it's not that I wouldn't think if this exact circumstance played out on Earth, I wouldn't think the guy was a hero. In this fiction, you chose your hero to be a coward who wouldn't step up into the moment, and I just don't respect
see it
that.
as cowardice,
and I
though.
don't believe it as real. Like it doesn't even align with the point of telling a hero's story, right? The point of a hero's story for all of us is to help us all grow and overcome and see that
it
there's
should be
possibilities.
aspirational.
Aspirational, exactly. If you can't aspire to follow in the steps of a guy who wouldn't step up to save humanity when the alternative was to just sit there and watch everyone die. Like that's what kind of a hero is that?
Well, no, hold up, Matt. I mean, I aspire to be drugged by the government, and then that overcomes all of my personal problems. It'd be great.
So I think to a large extent, your beef with this is purely a matter of what you kind of, and I know you've said this several times, but what you wanted out of this.
I remember reading that Project Hail Mary was like the amalgamation of another book that he was going to write, but then scrapped like 20,000 pages in or something like that. And then it was 2 other ideas, and those all came together to form Project Hail Mary. So there is a fundamental issue with the source material in that sense. And yeah, it's kind of disjointed there in messaging.
That's the vast majority of books.
Well, I'm just saying it's very clear that like even Andy Weir, when he was writing it, it wasn't very clear what he was trying to do or what he was trying to say with his main character.
Like, let me ask you guys this, okay? Let me ask you this, just to be, fair. What do you think him being a coward and not wanting to step into it accomplished?
It just makes the payoff at the end greater than it was if I knew the guy was some big macho guy. It's like a guy that isn't comfortable being thrown into this situation, but he's doing the science and stuff anyways. He always says like how he doesn't want to talk to the scientists because he believes he shouldn't be there and the military people. And I just felt like this is a fish out of water story. So it seemed really believable to me when he's like, I can't do this because I don't think I'm worthy. And it wasn't that I didn't think the guy like didn't want to save people. I just didn't think that that he thought he could do it, and if the stakes were so high, if he failed, like I don't know.
I mean, like surely, that's something that like you can then recognize in yourself. It like helps you. You can like commiserate with his circumstances.
Then maybe I don't disagree with you because it's like I do think you're correct in that it does make the final payoff good. Maybe I just disagree with the execution and his reasoning.
I would agree with you on that front, Matt.
Yeah,
the way to get there, I'm not a fan of.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just that. Maybe it's just like his reasoning was selfish and shallow. Like if there was anything more tied into it, like another loved one, or they had to rip him away from that for that reason. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. It feels like I don't know. I just didn't like it.
Well, again, I think that kind of goes back to Vex and I. His motivation to begin with is not done well.
Right.
Once he's on ship, okay, we're good. Let's roll.
But leading up to that,
it's leading up to that causes problems where it's like, okay, you've already established kind of who he is, and he's basically like wishy-washy. Doesn't really have agency in his coward in multiple ways and tries to use I'm not the guy for the job. No, actually it's the kids. I'm actually afraid of death. None of the last one is the most laughable one.
Wouldn't it be a noble enough sacrifice for him to not go save himself, and then go save Rocky even without the cowardice? Like the fact that he would still go back and save his friend.
Yeah, because he has no idea. Again, he is going to kill himself trying to save Rocky.
Does the cowardice need to come into it? It still seems like a noble.
I don't either.
He literally says that he doesn't want to die in space. Like he's scared to do it.
You just have to consider the alternatives.
Is that cowardly though to not want to die in space?
Guys, you mean as opposed to costing all of humanity and still dying because
not even that, Jay. It's and then to live amongst them and then go to the store every day and live out your life and watch and look at everyone
To
in
know
the
that
eye,
you caused this.
have friendships and relationships, and know that they're all gonna die. Yet you could have impacted this. You could have fixed this problem, but this will be the end of all humanity because you couldn't get over your own mortality.
Well,
That's
that
not the
doesn't work.
hero.
It's a bit too far.
Zach's and myself have both interpreted this the exact same way, which I think is what's causing this huge diversion.
I've only watched the movie, not book.
Is we are seeing this as Grace is firmly of the opinion that he is not that guy, that if they put him up there, he is going to fail. And this is a 100% certain position. So they are better off going and getting some random guy, making him watch videos for the first 6 months before going to sleep, than they are to put him on that ship. Because
Except that the movie doesn't allow that because it says there's a hard window. There's only like so many days. You can't train someone else up.
And again,
Right.
it is in his mind better for them to send somebody that is not really trained in anything that they are doing than to send him. In his mind, it is not cowardice. It is purely rational to send to the person who doesn't have a 100% chance of failure. So if you view his actions through that lens, and Jay, you keep bringing up the, that sequence, I'm not that guy. Oh, what about the kids? I'm afraid of
dying.
I read that as he told them the truth. I'm not that guy. And they said, that's great, dog. I don't care. Get on the ship.
Yeah.
And he went, well, okay.
Because you are that guy because you're the only guy.
Yes. And
that's why you're the guy.
Yeah, you're going to have
There's
to be
no
that
other,
guy.
Like, I hate to keep going back to this, but it's just like, there's probably another guy who could have been nailed to the cross, but like, you're the guy, Jesus, who has to do it for humanity.
Yeah.
Like,
we're nailing two other
like
guys
it-
to the cross today, but they're not going to be the ones.
Like it or dislike it, this is what you're being asked of. And it's like, that's what a hero's journey is about. It's
But
about
he's-
sacrifice.
Can
It's
I-
about
can I-
doing
Jesus. He's
Can I-
not the son of God.
But Alex, the hero's journey is always reflective of Jesus. That's like where it comes from. Like that's why it resonates with us.
I just
It's
think
like,
it was different. It was a different approach to the journey. Like I really think that
Can I?
I agree with you. It's a different approach to the journey, but
think it's a
that's
better-
But I think it exposes a fundamental piece of it
Right.
that is important, and you can't just try to modern liberal writing your way out of it. It's important that the hero says yes. You have to say yes.
The changing of the hero's journey in subtle ways is what makes a story great. Yes,
Of
you
course,
follow
of
13
course,
of the
Alex,
16
always.
steps, but how
Obviously.
you change those three
But
is
you
what-
can't have him not say yes, and it still has the same function. It just doesn't.
I just
I
think
know-
he says yes earlier than that. Like he says yes at the very beginning. He says yes throughout the movie. He doesn't say yes at that moment,
Firmly
but not because he
But he
doesn't want to
doesn't-
do it.
He
Not
does.
because
said-
he doesn't think he can do it. He thinks he will fail again. And he thinks someone else will be better at this than me. And it was at that moment that
But
he
there's
said,
no
okay,
one
fuck it.
else. There's no one
But-
else. And
okay,
he never
but-
said, okay,
But
fuck
you
it.
know
He
that,
said-
Matt, because it's fiction. But if the character is supposed to be believable as a person, you could see how he might think that, right?
But
No,
that's not
because they told
more
him
to
and
the
he's been
point,
involved.
Zach,
He
more to the
knows.
point is that it's fiction. That's why it's so important to tell it, to nail it, to get it
So-
right.
Wait, can I ask a question about the facts of the movie? Like, because wasn't he not trained to go on the mission? Like, he wasn't going on there.
He
So
wasn't
I
going on the
feel
mission.
Like
No,
it was,
never.
He
it was
wasn't.
like, yeah,
Right. Because
He-
both of
wasn't
the
even a backup
backup
person.
scientists get killed
Yeah.
in the explosion.
He wasn't even a backup person.
yeah.
The
He's
only
not
reason
he said, I'm not an astronaut, too.
The alternative is hell. The alternative is living on Earth
Can-
while it slowly
can I-
freezes to death
can I-
and everyone dies.
Let Bex
okay, it's like, okay. What it would have, if you wanted to include the cowardice thing, it should have been when he woke up on the ship, not before he got on the ship, because it makes sense that he would be terrified and not want to go through with the mission. Like when he wakes up and has no recollection of things and then suddenly realizes, oh, I'm the cause rat. Then he meets Rocky, and Rocky balances that out and gives him a purpose to continue on the journey. For him to be a coward on Earth and having to get drugged to go on the ship, it doesn't do anything for the character or the arc he eventually goes on.
Or humanity, which is the greater point of telling a story.
Well, there's also
not
an amusing
savior.
there's an amusing side effect of what they did with the movie, because they skipped him regaining his memories
Exactly.
early on.
Which is another problem.
It essentially makes Ryland Grace not Ryland Grace, because he doesn't remember all of this shit. So the things about, I don't trust myself or whatever, that would be gone because he doesn't have the memory of him screwing up and all that, right? He has to remember, I'm smart. Oh, look, I have muscles and all that, right? It's essentially a different character in the ship until he remembers, I actually refused this shit because I was a coward.
Then it doesn't
But by
matter
that time, it
because
doesn't matter.
You're right. He's already met Rocky. He knows what the mission is, and he has an actual purpose that they both can work towards. So it's a weird creative choice, a very weird one.
Yeah,
I think it's interesting. I don't think it detracts from the movie.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either.
No.
I think
guess
it makes him less
maybe
of a
I don't know.
hero.
It's hard for me to say about the movie because I was already braced for it because I read it in the book and I hated it in the book. And then when they did the movie,
But doesn't
I
that
was
make
already-
you go to the movie differently if you've already read it in the book and you didn't like it in the book?
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm just ready. I'm just like, it's like if you walked into The Last Jedi and you knew that Luke throws the lightsaber over his head and it becomes an anti-Jedi, it would soften the blow. So it's kind of the same thing. It's like this softened the blow, but I still don't like it. I still think it's a terrible choice. Like I don't even understand the point. It doesn't serve the story.
I think
Well, that's
adapting, adapting it from because a novel has so much more opportunity to flesh things out and discuss more.
What's the
Right,
message?
that's
A coward can be a hero if you force him to be at gunpoint.
But if you also make him forget that he's a coward for
What's the point?
9/10
What is
of
the
movie.
point of the? How does that help?
When he's not a coward.
The
That
best
even-
stories
even-
are
even-
a coward learns to be a hero. Like that's a story. Like it's not. A
Yeah.
This
coward-
is what happened.
That's what happens.
What happens?
That's what happens in the second half of the movie, not the first half.
Well,
so
it
you get
happens
a
in the
It's
very
one
end.
movie. We judge movies based on the whole movie.
No,
But you're taking away. But it's like okay, like a coward can be a hero if you put a gun to the back of his head and make him be a hero.
No, if you make him forget who he is,
How
he
is
can be
that
a hero right
how
up
is
until he
that
remembers it right at the
what
end of
is
the movie.
the point of that? Like, how is that helpful to anybody? It's not like it's not worthwhile. It's not a worthwhile story we need to embrace and remember. Right? Like there's a reason why the Iliad carries through history. There's a reason these stories matter to humanity. It's not simply because they're entertaining. It's like they tell us something about ourselves and they tell us something about how we aspire to be. It's more than just, well, that was a fun way to pass an hour and a half. Like there's something valuable in it. Like if a hero can be a hero if he's a coward because you drug him and then force him to be a hero, like that's not a hero. It's like, is the Manchurian Candidate a hero if he doesn't know what he's doing?
Like, it was his choice. When he didn't remember who he was, he made the choice to do the right thing, right?
But if
When
it
he
was up to
didn't
him,
remember.
if it was up to him, Lady B, he would have never been on that ship and humanity's doomed.
right.
Yeah, but then he doesn't remember why he was there, and
And
he
so
makes the
he's-
right decision. So
That's
what
why
does it
he's
matter?
only a hero in the second half of the movie because suddenly it's a different person that's on the ship and he can make that choice to go on that journey. But in the first half of the movie, he doesn't have that at all.
He
He's not a
doesn't,
hero.
and that's why you don't like it, which we've already talked about.
The I mean, if you're saying there's no theme to it, isn't the theme that just because you don't believe you're capable of doing something doesn't mean you actually aren't capable of doing it?
I wish that were the theme. I wish it
would have
were
been a
because
beautiful
again,
theme. That would be
that's-
great.
that is the theme.
it's
that's
not
what I
actually
took from
because
it.
Well,
again,
well,
if you pay attention
right.
to what's going
But
on, that's
if-
not what happens.
Right, then the point is, Alex, then it's like, yes, if someone forces you against your will and drags you through something you don't want to do, by the end of it, you can be a hero.
Especially
That's not
if
a
you
great
forget all of
message.
the reasons you weren't going to do it in the first place.
If you don't believe you're capable of doing something, but are forced by circumstances into
By drugs.
Hey,
Well, no,
that's got
no.
me through a lot of family holidays.
if you are
Yes.
forced
Like
into
the message would
adversarial-
have to be. The message
Well-
would have to be like, if you
Oh.
didn't think you could serve in the United States Army, but then we drugged you and put you in a Black Hawk helicopter,
No, it's-
and then you survive. Well, you know what? Then great.
No,
you
actually,
could have been a
actually,
hero.
that's a better story. What this one is that he did a thing when he was young that shook his confidence. The good news is they made him forget all of that shit when he was on the. So he just acted like he would have naturally, right up until he remembers. Oh shit! I actually refused this,
Hold on.
and now he becomes that.
Oh.
But he's already got Rocky.
Oh,
So his
okay.
personality
just-
was that of a hero? Is that
just-
what you're
just-
saying?
No, his
Real
personality was that of a blank slate.
What are you
okay.
saying, Vex? Vex,
Okay,
your
just
hands
real
up here.
quick. Okay, the movie Edge of Tomorrow, right? We've all seen
Yes.
this movie,
Yeah,
right? Okay, Brahma Bull is picking up on it.
Good
Okay,
movie.
Edge of Tomorrow does the same kind of thing where it's a reluctant hero, right? But it's
Yeah.
when he realizes finally that, oh, he has the key and he has the option to actually, hey, instead of being a
Chooses
selfish
it.
guy, he chooses to make the decision. That's
the
an example of a
difference.
guy going from a coward to a
Yes.
hero. You
It's
don't
not a-
get that.
It's
with
not
Ryland.
even an uncommon arc. It's like actually you see it kind of a lot. I mean, you could even argue Casablanca. Now that he's a coward, but he's like does not want to get involved and then does. Like it's a
Well,
normal part of like a
okay,
hero's
but
journey.
that's true,
Children
but
of
in that
Men is a good example as well.
it-
It's
in
just
this case,
that he
though,
I don't
chooses
think
to
it
get
makes
involved.
sense for
Is
this
the
No,
difference.
it doesn't. He gets it. He becomes a hero when he knows he can't die. He's gonna
Yes.
come
What?
back the
Yeah.
next day.
That's way
So
worse.
the stakes
than
are gone.
this.
There's no stakes for him. That's not a hero. Yes, I like the movie. He was
No,
a hero to me.
no, he
but,
walks
but
into
no, there's
combat.
not. If you know you're not going to die, he knows he can't die after that. When he comes back, and he comes back,
But he
becomes-
knows that what the
then
risk
he becomes
is.
a hero.
He knows if he gets attacked by the queen or whatever, if he dies in specific circumstances, he won't come back at all. So he goes
doesn't-
in every day with knowing
he-
that risk.
No, he doesn't know that at the very beginning. He doesn't.
He
comes
learns
back.
that
all
and
he
he
knows,
does that.
but he becomes a hero to find that out. He doesn't find that out
No,
day
no,
one.
he finds
he
that out
becomes-
on his journey to
He
becoming
becomes a hero like Groundhog Day, where he when he finds out he can't actually die, he does it. That's the first thing he learned.
That wasn't the first thing he learned in Edge of Tomorrow, though. He learns that because Emily Blunt's character tells him, "Oh, I had a blood transfusion and then I lost it." So he knew that the risk of him dying, whether he died or not, it wasn't a problem.
He already
It
died
was
and come
the
back before he
circumstances.
met her. He didn't have that conversation.
Is
with
that
her.
Yes,
a
but
good
he-
comparison?
I think the
I'm trying-
comparison I was trying to make with it originally is that as an example of a character that starts out as a coward and then they work through his cowardice in order to give him a
I
purpose.
will say the difference, Zax, with Edge of Tomorrow is that the movie doesn't make a show of pretending he's not a coward.
Exactly.
The entire time, he's still desperately does not want to be there
Yeah.
and tries to hide and run from it. And everybody is like telling him you're going to die. And then he does. And it's like this whole thing. Whereas in this movie, you're led to believe that he's the type of guy who would get on the ship. And then halfway through, you realize
It's
he's
not
the
even
type
get
of
on the
guy.
ship. You're led to believe that he's the kind of guy that, oh, even in the face of failure, like with his chance to prove it, his experiment, he will still persevere. And it turns out, no, that's not actually it. He is just a pussy.
It is different.
just
But
think
I don't
he
think the
didn't believe he
comparison
could
is
do it.
completely false, though.
I'm
I'm
kind of
trying to
with
remember.
Dempsey here. I think the story is anyone can overcome cowardice with enough brain trauma.
Yeah, if you get a
Alcohol helped
lobotomy.
there,
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Man,
I
that's
remember that was
comforting.
the story of Cuckoo's Nest. It was he couldn't.
Yeah,
he
he got-
couldn't
he got
help
very calm
everybody.
then,
Once they
once.
gave him a lobotomy, then he was
Yeah.
a really.
See, I
Your,
thought-
your
I wanted to
your
say-
willingness to accept that how much he is reset. If we're saying, like Jay is, that he is completely reset, that he is now a blank slate, he has no personality, he has no anything, then I can kind of see the argument you're making here. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I can kind of see the argument you're making here. At no point in this movie did I ever get the impression that he was factory reset. He
You mean
always
the part
had-
where he goes, "I'm
Well,
smart"?
he literally was.
What do you mean I'm
factory
smart?
reset, though.
Oh,
Yeah,
I can't
wait,
walk.
Hold on. You read
can't
the
remember
book.
anything.
That's how the book starts.
That's
he
how it
doesn't know
starts.
anything
He doesn't
about
remember
himself.
anything about
Yeah.
himself or life or
But
Earth.
we're
By
just
the,
looking at
by
the
the
movie.
time
Exactly.
he
This is why he's on a ship.
by the time he starts making relevant decisions, there are parts of his memory and his personality coming back to him.
And
Yeah,
that's a
that-
factory reset.
But no, hold up. So again, that's the book, and he has to go through those in order to unlock certain things in the ship.
Right.
That doesn't happen in the movie.
Look,
Yes,
my
he
keeps
point, my
having flashbacks,
I
and those
would actually
suddenly
like to
Re-
interject.
recontextualize where he is in the
Oh,
movie,
I'd like to
and he doesn't
interject.
have that final flashback about refusing until the last bit of the movie.
Because
Yep.
the thing is, like his factory reset is only partially relevant. My issue is that they introduced that fact well after where we've established his time on Earth, who he was, what he's been up to. It's like it's the type of thing they just drop into the middle of the story that didn't need to be there. Like if we didn't have that, the story would be very much unaffected.
We don't know his refusal until like very near the end.
Like it's like in the
Right.
almost into the third act. So
It's like
one of these
well, I think
things-
it's like right around the time he decided to go for Rocky, right?
If you took that out, would the movie and the story be worse? I don't think so. I think it wouldn't even be I wouldn't even think about it.
I think that would detract from the movie.
If you removed his refusal,
Yeah, like if we didn't have the flashback and like him remembering, like, oh yeah, I didn't want to do any of this. Like, I think that adds huge weight to it at the end.
Absolutely, me too.
He's doing it anyway. Yeah, I do agree with
disagree.
that. I don't think it takes away from him too much. At least not. That's
I
just
feel
my
like,
perspective
too,
on it.
especially
And
because
It's an arc.
he's not
You
Steve
You don't
Rogers.
start on top.
at any point of time after
he starts
he
as a
wakes
puppet,
up,
and then
It's
suddenly
You know who
It's
had an
different,
arc?
Alex.
Noah.
he can make the choice not
Yes,
to
he
keep
did.
participating or not trying or being like, I'm just going to become catatonic or I'm going to take the other woman's drugs. I don't know. He could have made a lot of choices. Like, he's still making a choice.
is he?
I think
Like
so,
I said,
yeah.
I feel like maybe I could accept all this if there was a better motivation than just I don't want to die. Like if he had like a
I just
family
don't think
member
that was his
or
motivation.
or
That
a
wasn't-
sick-
Whether or
Okay,
not
this
you
is
agree
my
with it.
opinions. But this is my
I'm asking,
opinions.
if you didn't think that, would that be acceptable to you? Like, is that the one change?
I'm just saying I don't like the way it was executed. I don't like that the whole motivation was pure selfish cowardice. If it was something where it's
You
like
read the
I don't
book.
want to leave my sick wife or my mom in a she's in a home, or I have a kid who's like got leukemia or some reason that's more like understandable why you would not want to get on, but simply because you're selfish, it's like it doesn't even make sense because you're still gonna die on this planet sooner because the sun's dying. Like it doesn't even make any sense.
Right.
It's like how is this a choice? Like you think like there's any. I feel like most
Because
of us,
I think there's probably like more chance of like in your mind, if you're thinking about it, like if I stay here, there's more chance like somebody else will do it. Like this is a problem other people
but if
will
the
solve. I
woman
might
who's
actually
controlling,
survive.
she's the head of that system, is telling you there's no one else. And you're still like, yeah, no,
I'm
I
not
can't
saying
do
it
it.
makes sense, but
so
it's
if-
like
Well,
Well, that's
you know,
my problem.
something
It
you would
doesn't make
think.
sense.
If you
you're
accept her as a god,
Ryland,
it's fine.
and you say, I am not the guy, I will fuck this up. So the alternative is we wait 2 months, we find somebody else, we give them a crash course, and in 2 months, we've sacrificed 30 million people, but our chances of success in this mission are now 10% as opposed to 0%. If that is your read on
Okay.
this character, how does that change your interpretation?
If that
of this
was
movie?
presented in the material, it's still not great from the hero's perspective, but it's like, okay, it's like understandable. That was never presented. What was presented was, it's you. You have to do this or we all die. And he says, no.
Nope.
The first thing he says is, "I'm not that guy."
Okay,
Yeah.
whatever. He says no.
But you don't
Whatever
accept that
way
answer
he conveyed it.
until he says something you don't like. Then you're like,
What?
okay, well that I can
No.
bury him with that, so I don't like him now. But you didn't like him going into the movie.
What? What are you
You
talking
read
about?
the
I
book.
said
You
I didn't like that.
in the movie, right?
Yeah,
Or in the
well, I can
book.
say that I did not read the book
You went
first,
to the
and I
movie,
didn't
you
like
also
him
didn't like
in
it
the beginning.
I didn't
in the
like the
movie.
choice, but I'm not saying
But
like
was
it
it
was
presented differently in the
you're
book.
saying it like I have some prejudice like against like I'm going into this movie ready to hate it.
That is prejudice, though. If you
Yeah,
went in-
but you
if you
said you
didn't
already
like
knew
it
what
in
was
the
going to
book-
happen and you didn't like it, right?
Right.
I
The
did.
problem is, I have the same complaints Matt does,
came
and I
into
did
this
not read
conversation
the
saying
book
I
first.
loved the movie.
Yeah, that's
Zach.
different,
So,
yeah.
was that not clear? Did I not make that explicitly
No,
clear?
I-
I even wrote in the group chat to you, Alex, that yes, the movie was fantastic and I loved it. That still does not detract from the fact that that point sucks. That is bad writing. That defies the hero's journey. It's not someone to look up to. It breaks the whole point of telling a story about a hero. That's
so
irrelevant.
he's not a hero.
In a way, no.
No, he's kind of acting out of selfishness the whole time.
Yeah, in a way, no. He's not. If he's
So-
willing to let humanity die for selfish reasons, then no, yes, he's not. In,
The
in
when
a
he
way, he's
sends the
not a
drones
hero.
back, that
He
was
does-
I kind of
does the
understood it
mission.
as like he was paralyzed in the inaction because of like the enormity of the task and his own
Yeah.
self-doubt.
Yeah.
He didn't have to do anything.
That's not what he
Oh.
did, because he also tried to run away, so he wasn't
Yeah, he tried
paralyzed
to
by
run,
inaction. It's one of the few things he does.
Well, I think
decide to
he's
do.
avoiding, right? Like he doesn't even want to be confronted with it. That's why he's running away.
try to reframe and rephrase what this is, but it was him backing down from when humanity asked him to save them and he says no. I don't understand how you define that
But
in any other way.
if
than
you would go to
cowardice.
the Vietnam War memorial, would you say half of those guys are cowards?
Why do you keep bringing that up? Like that's
Because
what I think.
how is it different if you're drafted into the army you don't want to go to with a war you don't agree with and you die over there? Are you a hero or a coward?
No, you can actually make
You're
a
a coward
choice
who
to not
died.
go. You can go to Leavenworth.
Right. So he could have made the choice not to go to work every day.
They
built the
didn't
ship with
give
that.
him a choice. He basically goes, okay, they're making decisions. I'll just
He
go
asked to
along.
be brought
The
back
only
in.
time he makes a choice is, nope,
But
I'm
Zach,
not going to
once
save
again,
humanity.
to be brought back in.
You're using real world examples to
Yeah.
justify fiction. This is fiction. We know this.
I mean, I don't know how else you would do it. though.
My criticism is in the writer,
But it's
not
on
in
this
not
one-
in
is there
someone
an-
who not in
Is there
someone
another
who's
story
drafted
that
against
you
their
would like
will.
better that they could have told? If it was a
Zach,
Captain America style story, where he jumped. You know how he's gonna. You know how Steve Rogers will react to everything all the way through, right? So that you can like those kinds of movies, but I don't mind that we didn't know until after he got into the mission.
You
that he
think
could
you
actually
think
pull this off.
my taste in movies is too pedestrian? It's too.
I didn't
it's
say
too-
that. I said that
Well,
if
it's
you
what
want a
you
straightforward.
implied by mentioning Captain
You don't
America.
need
You
a
don't like
straight-
Captain America?
Yeah, but Zach,
I
you
just
don't need a
Zach,
straightforward
why are you coming
story.
after
What
me,
you-
man? These are my opinions about
Proper
this movie.
motivation.
And these
Why
are
are you
my
coming after my
opinions, too.
character now?
Your character?
Yeah, you're coming after me.
Are
now.
you talking about your persona?
But you're saying he's a coward. I don't think he's a coward. I don't think that's a fair assessment. And if you don't apply that to any other characters, who else would you apply that to in fiction? Because you don't want to compare to actual people.
Well, I'm sure I could find an example, but I can't think of a one who was framed as the hero.
Well, I don't think Zach's bringing up Captain America was like a shot at you.
It's
That was
not
just
a
an
shot
example.
at all.
Oh, I thought you were saying it like, you idiot. If you only want to
Yeah,
enjoy
don't you want
superhero
Simpsons?
movies.
That's
No,
not
just
what I
like
thought.
we all know
that's how I
Captain
read
America.
that. That's how I thought you were
I
saying
love
that.
Captain America. It's one of my favorite characters. It's not
Okay.
a put down. I'm saying he was straightforward
Oh.
when you knew who he was, so you knew when he got the
Okay,
powers.
I'm sorry. I
That's
thought
all
you
I'm
were saying that at me. I was
No,
like,
Matt,
why-
if he
Captain
wanted,
America
if he
shows I'm
wanted to
Canadian.
insult you, he would have had me do it.
I thought you were going to say
No.
if he wanted to insult you, he'd talk about color of
It's
money.
just an example of a good, straightforward
Damn.
hero's journey where he's earned it. He gets the power. We know what he'll do when he gets it. Like there's nothing wrong with that story. But like, I didn't need
No,
this
but
guy to be
okay,
that.
a good example in Captain America, right, is like when in the movie, I haven't read many of the comic books, but in the movie though, when he's not the superhero, when he's not Steve Rogers, they throw the grenade and he immediately jumps on it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's self-sacrifice, right?
It is.
He's willing
God,
to
he
sacrifice
don't look at
himself for
you guys got to bail.
other people.
It's like almost 1 a.m. here. I'm
All
sorry.
right, I'm sorry, guys. It's getting late.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys for what's up with the white cloaks.
Yeah, thanks.
Not too much. Just been
Yell at
busy with
Matt.
work, man.
Yeah, work has been pretty bad.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So nothing on that.
Hey, at least you get to be with each other for a bit. That's
Yeah,
that's a marked
this is the
improvement
most
from the
time
last
we've
few.
Spent probably together in the last 3 months.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Nice. It's awesome, though. You get to be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your time.
True.
I love him. Thank you guys. Good night.
Thanks,
we'll see you
guys.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take
Later,
care,
guys.
Max.
Always
Nice
a
to see
pleasure.
you.
Nice
Bye,
to see
baby.
you, Smoke.
Okay.
Yeah, bye.
Subscribe to White Cloaks.
Matthew, I love you, dude.
Oh,
I don't.
okay,
I'm not
good.
putting you down at all. Your
Yeah,
character,
I mean,
period.
it's like,
I was
hate
just
when
trying to give an
people
example of a
do that with
straightforward
fucking
version
Oh,
of the
I
story.
misunderstood. I'm sorry. I
Like,
misread what
she
you
just
were
goes
saying
around
completely. I
it.
thought you were coming at me.
I love.
thought you were-
I love Captain America.
No, me too. I just
Oh.
thought you were coming at me like
No.
you fucking retard. I was like, oh, Jesus.
I said those are. But if he had like, I guess maybe for me, if I knew going in he was going to be a hero for sure, then maybe it would have been less interesting. I don't know if it would have been because I only ever saw this version of it, but it didn't. It didn't make me think he's a coward. That's all I'm saying. I think he could have been. He's not. He is not brave for sure. I think.
Well, I
but
think
he's not a coward. I think there's a middle ground.
the problem we have is again that the revelation that he refuses happens towards the end. So you kind of built up this goodwill for the character.
It's
Yeah.
too
You
late.
didn't have
It's a little
that
too
moment.
late.
That's a
Yeah.
good point too. Is
Maybe.
it also when
Maybe.
it comes into the story,
Right. And
maybe has a lot to do with it too. That might.
Well,
that might
I
actually
liked
be-
learning it then because it felt like
Well, you're a coward, Jake.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
true.
Like
Damn it.
just fundamentally as a storytelling device, putting it near the end when already he's on this quest to save Rocky and he has his purpose and
Maybe
he's done
that's
the mission.
what bugs me.
It doesn't
Maybe
make
that's
any
right.
sense to throw it in there because now you've got a completely disjointed final act of the movie where it's like, oh, should I really root for this guy that was just willing to sacrifice all of humanity? Like, so
Well, it's like him realizing,
You know
like,
what?
now that he's
That-
totally invested in Rocky, like, I wouldn't even be here right now if I had gotten my way and stayed back on Earth. And now,
Right.
like, I'm here to save Rocky. Like, I think that has a great message.
I think
wonder-
that's
I
what they
wonder-
intended to do. I think
Yeah.
the problem again is because of the cuts they had and the pacing that they had or whatever. It's essentially that puppet Grace, because it's not really him inside because he's forgotten all kinds of stuff. Finally gets to the moment where he's doing something so heroic and suddenly realizes he was a piece of shit. But look, I'm overcome it because
the dark
suffered
city
some brain
version of
damage. It's
Grace.
fine.
And I think Zax and I are, like, basically, and Alex and Lady B, like, we're on the same page. Like, that is how we interpreted that.
You know what? It's actually completely reasonable that maybe I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it if it was introduced in the beginning. Maybe it is just a timing issue. I still feel like it violates the hero's journey like code, but maybe
Well, that may
it's just-
be.
maybe it's a thing that it really comes in at like the end of the second act, which doesn't make sense to drop it then.
I think
It's like
there's
oh.
two things that
it almost
that,
makes you. It's like if you learned a good friend of yours, you know what I mean? Like went to jail for beating up a woman, but you didn't know that for 4 years, and you're like, oh, that makes me reframe how I look at you.
And then
Yeah.
right when they're in the middle of saving your life, they tell you.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like okay, go and save my life, but understand I'm going to punch you in the
Like-
fucking once I'm
Yeah,
back
you're
on
like,
solid
oh,
ground.
Oh, by the way, I used to sell crack to children.
yeah,
Yeah,
smack.
it's like, oh.
No, I think
I don't know.
Again, there's two things.
I thought I liked you.
I think the story itself, I think there's a lot of people that are like, okay, it didn't actively piss in my face, so I love it. I think
reasoning.
I like cute Rocky, dog in a hamster ball running around and the sidekick
I
kind of
did like
status and the humor and all that. I think the problem is, and again, this is just a basic writing problem, or at least the way that they edited the movie. They don't have Grace kind of really establish that he is the person we saw in those prior things because of his amnesia. And then the revelation that he was actually a coward happens while he's doing a heroic thing. And what's he going to do? Turn back now? I mean, it's basically just the inertia of everything's happened.
Right.
So
You don't need
The-
it.
Like at that point, like what does it add?
Nothing.
I don't know,
When was
because
this in the
like
book?
for the audience to be like, look how far he's come. Even for
No.
him, like, look how far I've come.
But then,
Hold on.
but Jake, if that's the case, then do it in the beginning, right? It's like
Well-
the fact that they added, and this is exactly how it plays out in the book too. It's like late in the
It's
story.
at the end
They-
in the book.
Yeah, it's like in the second act, like the end of the second act, they drop it. It's that he didn't want to go, which makes you kind of feel like I felt grossed out. I was like, ugh, like I don't like you now.
yeah, again, the motivation again, if the motivation is he lacked confidence in himself. And that's the thing he does where he's like, I'm not the right man for the job. And they're like, we don't care. You don't understand. Under pressure, I will fail, or I have failed at these things before, right? And if all of that were there, then okay, I'm good with it. Yeah, they drugged him because now they believe in you. You don't believe in yourself. I'll throw you into the situation. You will do the right thing, right? But the combination
That
of
would've
not
probably
setting
worked
up,
better.
right?
If it almost like if one of his first memories was being drugged and put on the ship and he didn't know why,
Right.
Like that would create some intrigue and some mystery.
Actually,
Right.
that sounds
Realize,
cool.
oh,
I could have got
okay.
on board with that.
I didn't
Right.
want to be there. Maybe that would honestly, maybe it's just that. Maybe it's
And
just
again,
like where
Let's
they
do it.
placed
if
it.
they would have set up the motivation prior to that, where you see, that he's the insecurity, showing up. Yeah, I can do things, but as long as there's nobody, that they're not depending on me. That there's back checks, there's all that stuff, right? Because that's kind of what he does in that, where he's like, oh, so and so is like so forth, and somebody goes, yeah, we've already tested that, and after that he starts going, but I'm sure you've already. You already know
Like,
this.
I'm actually, the more I think about this, the more I really think it is about the timing of when they introduce it, because I could actually accept it early on if that he's grappling with the reality that he's a coward and that he didn't step up to save humanity, and now that's his opportunity to do so. I'm actually gonna do the right thing now. I pussied out back on Earth, and I didn't step up into the moment. But you know what? God damn it, I'm gonna do it now, and I'm gonna work with this alien, and we're gonna do it together.
Well-
Maybe literally, if they just put it in the beginning of the book instead of the end, I'd actually not have a problem with it.
Yeah, and even for the movie, it's just, again, it goes back to, well, if you establish your character better, then seeing that scene even later in the film would be fine. Like, you could still get
Yeah.
on board with it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
would
can't
almost,
argue with
that would
that.
actually, I think, even justify it more. It's now you have to face it. You have to live with that reality.
Yes.
You pussy. You
That
coward,
would-
you
that would-
fucked up.
I mean-
overcome it.
Right.
We
That's-
established that pretty early on, but like, yeah, that would improve the movie pretty dramatically, especially
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Well, again, it
That's all
then
they gotta
becomes
do.
a hero's journey, not
Yeah.
a amnesiac's journey that suddenly realized he accidentally became a hero.
Yeah.
Hello,
That's a
Sonia.
great point. Where's Alex? Can we get Alex back?
It's
so I can
awesome
tell
to
him
see
Just
you,
deny
here,
it.
Sonia.
just to add on to, like, if you have the character built up and then he has that realization, now he has a chance for redemption and being like, I couldn't do this for humanity, or initially I couldn't, but now I have the chance to do this for someone else instead of just, I want to
Yeah.
save my best rock
Yeah.
friend.
You could
Right?
even
That's
have
good
like
thinking.
a time in the early parts where he's starting to figure everything out, like a period of shame, where he's just like ashamed
Yeah.
that he couldn't do it, and he had to like live with that.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Drunken
Well, and
Poet.
then you have the flashback to the talking to the guy who was like, oh, you don't have the courage
The-
gene, and he
yeah.
says you have to do it with somebody you care about, and that's
that
when he's doing
would have
Rocky.
worked.
So the-
Why
Yeah,
does
Again, this
Andy
is just a this is
literally
a
just
problem with the
positioning
writing.
issue.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the way they set it up.
Just
Yeah,
that
you guys
the
are
book is
making
not,
sense.
the book is not told linearly, Drunken Poet. Like, it goes between, like, almost every other chapter. It's present on the ship and then flashback to what's going
Yeah.
on. Present, flash, and then sometimes you get the perspectives of different like other characters in the flashbacks.
Yeah, and I would say it's not an argument against nonlinear storytelling. It's an argument against poor nonlinear storytelling.
I guess it makes
Yeah.
me think. I guess what made me think, I guess, in the book while I was experiencing it, is that like the Weir doesn't think cowardice is like a weakness or something. You know, it felt like it was like somehow cowardice can be like a virtue or something.
Well,
He
I
doesn't
mean-
really address it in the book, though, is the
but
problem.
I'm just
Like,
saying,
he-
like as if I'm reading his mind, you know, like through his work. It's like that's how it comes across. It comes across in a way where you're like, you're excusing that. Like,
I
or
thought
you
it-
think that's worthy of your hero? Like, it's like that's a despicable character.
It's almost like he's extremely competent, but he has these character flaws. But if I throw him in the right situation because of his competence, he'll overcome it. And I was like, but you don't really earn it, and especially the way that
it sounds like some
shown.
city liberal guy who's just like, yeah, I didn't defend my girl from getting mugged the other day because I was a pussy and I ran away. But if I was put on a spaceship and I had to save the planet, I could do it.
I would
You know,
totally do it.
you know what I mean? Like, that's how it feels.
just on the note of like, because I didn't like when that happened in the book either, and I very much felt that where it happened and when it happened and how it happened, given everything we had read up until that point, it felt like Weir just was like, oh, I don't have enough stakes and enough tension, so I'm going to artificially add this in.
Interesting.
So would you guys say that without the amnesia that he would have failed? Because that, I'm thinking about it now, the way you guys are putting it, I'm sort of more lining up for me, but because he was, I didn't know to the extent he was reset. So if he started this movie and learned all this, he learned his own competence without any doubts or fear.
Right.
Like he learned he was good at these things without having any negative
Well,
reminders
here's-
or experience.
or
the
again,
problem.
that if his major hang up is against self-confidence because
Right.
of his failure,
or whatever it
and
is.
they throw him on there or whatever, the fact that absent that he gets to a certain point and then, you know, it's revealed to him, actually you refuse that or whatever, now he's like, oh dude, but what the fuck? I mean, you know, again, the experiencing the thing and doing the thing was like, no, I can actually perform this. This was just some psychological hang up I had. Problem is, that's going to be a bitch to show in a movie.
So,
You-
so
you
in
think
the,
Yeah.
in the
different,
book,
though, the outcome.
just real quick, in the book, Zach's like, what happens is he wakes like for like a good third of the book. It's him
Okay.
trying to remember who he is and why he's there and where he is and all of that stuff, right?
Okay.
And what happens in that is that you can clearly see that as he remembers things, he does have his strengths, but there's things that he just doesn't know. Like as he recalls details about the mission and why he's there, there are just things that he's not equipped to know. Like he's not an engineer, for example, but he's really good at biology. So he can figure out
Right.
you know, the astrophage situation, all that stuff. And that was the great thing about when Rocky came in, is that for all the things that he was not competent for, that he needed 2 crew members for, Rocky came in and filled those gaps.
Yeah, he's the
But
complement.
instead,
to
the
character.
movie makes it seem like just because he worked for government on this, he somehow
Right.
knows everything about the project, and then that personality and that skill is taken away from Rocky as a
Right.
result. So again, this all goes
Yeah.
back to issues with the writing.
Yeah.
That being said,
Great movie.
I loved the movie.
Go see it.
I
Yeah.
mean it. I'm not just saying that to be cute. I loved it. I had a blast
too.
watching that movie. It made
Well,
me
like
tear up.
it's gratifying that like we're able to have these conversations about the
Yeah.
movie as opposed
shit.
to like another $400 million, woke.
And I'm,
Yeah.
I'm a Ryan
Blockbuster.
Gosling stan. I think I've made that clear on these streams before. I fucking
Or again,
love, I
the
love
movie didn't
Homie.
actively piss on our faces. So okay, it's thank you very much for that. That's a novel change.
I
in the
know,
last
I-
decade.
It's almost like the.
Just
you know,
on
it would have
that-
actually been a perfect. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just gonna say it would have been a perfect like that first act. You know what like the end of the first act, like where it's like everything's down and then you kind of like build up. Like that would have been a great way to have the time for him to learn that he was a coward. Like that would have actually been the appropriate time for him to have figured that out.
Yeah.
And
Well-
then let's build off of that.
Or again,
Right,
that
well, I'm here.
his cowardice is not, I don't want to die in space. It's
And then
it's
he
made
even
clear
could
that
have-
he's afraid of having the responsibility because of his past failures.
And then he could have even redeemed that,
Right.
like in his message back to Earth. He could have even been like, "You were right.
You were right,
You know?
yeah,
Or, you
yeah.
know, like something.
or,
like,
or thanking her for.
yeah. You know what? You were right. I'm like, I
Yeah.
apologize. You
Yeah.
know, here's my.
I may die out here, but at least I die a better man than when I
Show
left.
your tits.
I mean,
Don't drink.
You don't want to see that.
It's
That's a
literally-
better
I can't
movie.
believe how much of it is just a timing issue. I was fighting that, and you're right. Like when Vex said that, it's like literally as soon as if you just moved it earlier, I wouldn't hate it as much.
It's weird to me. Like that is a better movie.
Yeah, again, that's when everybody starts talking about the hero's journey, and I was like, you're not paying attention to the movie. He doesn't know who the fuck he is. He's forgotten the hangups that were actually a problem for him until he's already committed to doing something that is a good thing. And so at that point, it's just whatever.
Just on the hate conversations, I am going to hate on this for a second. Anyone who's saying this is a good movie because it doesn't like push anything in your face is a fucking retard. Because I see people doing the same thing about Super Mario Galaxy, and I'm like, did you guys forget that in like the first Super Mario movie, they made Peach like an ultra girl boss? And like Mario just didn't do shit at all. He was just kind of there because he's a staple character.
Right.
That's about it.
You're right. Like the bare minimum should not be our standards.
Right, which is why I also dislike the argument. Oh, it's better than most of the stuff we get these days. No, it's on the same tangent. Now you're being disingenuous to what the actual standard of movie making used to be.
Or you've only seen movies in the last 10 years.
Exactly.
I like it.
I will say this, Vex, to that point, to like the it's better than things we get these days argument. There was something so refreshing about going back to the movies and like just falling into a movie and being and remembering that, oh my God, Hollywood can make good shit. Like, I'm not saying that because I spent so much time in this sphere. It was a cathartic feeling. Like, it was just like I walked out of there with my date and I was like, fuck. That was good. I was like joyful. Like I felt good. And I was like, shit, I used to go to movies and feel that way.
Well, like Alex, that was the first thing he described. Like he had that same feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
like there's
fine,
something
yeah.
relevant about that, like remembering that. Like I understand what you're saying if you want to start doing critique and putting it up against, whatever movies, but there's something poignant about the fact that it happened now. Like you're like, oh my God, like movies used to be good. I remember movies used to be good. Like
movies are still good. You just have to like do
They're-
your diligence and find them.
I'm not wasting my energy.
There you go.
You got to come to me. Fuck off.
You're like looking
and
for
that
a
is the
needle
problem.
in a needle
That is the
stack.
I've been burnt for too long, Vex. Like, what do you want from me? I'm not going to do all this work. I'll just watch the things I like.
See.
I'm gonna
This is
listen
where
to
I
Nick
think I
Fuentes.
fundamentally just don't vibe with so many people. Is that if I don't like like something, I'll do something about it instead of
Yeah.
just be like waiting for a solution. And that I
Good
think
night,
that's
It's
the
not
Aztec.
that, no,
problem.
hold on, Vex. You misunderstand me. It's
Mhm.
just that I'll go watch the things that I like. I'm not gonna like. I'm just
Oh,
not gonna
okay.
do all the extra work to
No,
like
but
dig
again,
through
that
the rubble pile and find the one.
I find that
gem.
still a problem though, because
Eh,
a lot of people
I
like to
just
say
don't
that,
have
oh,
the
there's
interest
no
anymore.
good movies these days, but they're not doing the work to just be like, oh, maybe I should look at just what's not in the cinema or what Netflix is
Yeah.
putting in front of me. Maybe I can actually just go to a website.
But this is the point, though, is like that isn't how it used to be.
That is how it's
like,
always been
Stick to
though.
Disney.
No,
Plus.
it's
No,
not.
that's not.
It
That's
really
not true.
wasn't.
Again, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, there
it
was a
was-
time where you would go to the movie theater and go, "We're going to the movies. What are we going to see? I don't know. We'll decide when
I
we
don't
get
know.
there."
We'll figure it out when we get there.
Have like a 80% chance of seeing a good movie.
Of seeing something good. I mean, in the '90s, it's like there were movies that like I went back that I watched at the time, and I was like, oh, that was pretty
Are
good.
we talking explicitly
Yeah.
in movie theaters or just movies in general?
Movie
I would
theaters.
just say movies in general.
Oh,
I
okay.
just say
I'm saying
Something like
movies in
at least
general.
passable.
Goodwin saying
Something that
theater.
didn't make you want to like gouge your eyes out.
But Vex, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I used to watch like obscure European art films.
Right.
Like I used to watch every single movie I get my hands on. I just got to the point where it's like I don't feel like I need to work that hard to find something entertaining. Like now, just in my casual life, like I have like 7 streaming services with 1,000 movies. If I can't put on all of them and find something to watch, fuck you. You failed me. You know what I mean?
The industry has failed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand where you're coming from. And oh, hi.
Yeah, I think the question is, I mean, do you love movies or do you love the idea of like the entertainment industry and what it used to do, right? Where it was they went out of their way to go find you and go, hey,
Yeah.
you really ought to see this.
There's
you know,
lots of 70s gems
I
that I
agree
haven't
with you
mined
then in
yet,
this
and I'm sure I
regard.
could go find them. And I'm sure there's some films that are being made, but it's just, I find it disrespectful that I have to work that hard when it's just like you have all the resources, you have all this talent, and you've chosen to use almost all of that to insult me. Where I'm just like, you know what? Then fuck you.
So, like
Yeah.
the reason I'm disagreeing here is I guess because that's just always how I've been, even when I was younger. Like the moment I was able to get my hands, on
Vex,
a
you're not a
computer-
white male. You wouldn't understand.
Okay,
True.
fair. But it's just I was always looking for things that I might find interesting, and I was talking to people who like might give me recommend. So I was always looking for something.
I
And
totally
especially-
respect that. I
Right.
get that. And I think you're right. It's just that I feel like so much time of that has been spent, and then I find, oh, this is interesting, and it's just like, then it insults me. And I'm like, how many of these roads do I have to go down to find something where it's just like, oh, hey, you know how your values, you have your personal values? Fuck those values. It's
Yeah.
just like, I
Yeah.
can't keep doing this. This is
Everything
ridiculous.
about you and the things you believe and the things that you think and value, all of it's wrong. And I'm going to tell you why. You are evil.
I'm going to retreat into far right podcasts, okay?
Yeah, it's like going to a re-education camp instead of a movie theater. But
and I expended effort to get there.
yeah, and I had to pay for the privilege. But I think Shippy brought up a good point a while back, and it's one that I've discussed with other people. Is so do you reward incrementalism, or do you just go no the standard's the standard and that's
That's
it?
a really
right?
good question.
What do you mean by incrementalism?
So
If you're saying that this movie's not that great, but it's a step in the right direction, do you reward that,
No.
or do you only hold it to the highest standard?
I only hold it to the highest standard personally.
yeah,
I
I'm-
reward incrementalism. I think
So I'm more in Vex's camp, and mostly for a practical reason. I mean, if I'm teaching a kid, of course I reward incrementalism. That's how it works.
Mhm.
But the fact is that the industry has demonstrated time and time again that they will intentionally find the wrong lesson that rewards whatever
fair.
preconceived notions
Yeah.
they have,
Point.
and then take it. And so what you're going to see is sci-fi movie that wasn't really that sci-fi, that had cute thing that was basically a little bit more sci-fi Guardians of the Galaxy. We're going to do more of that. So guess what you're going to get? You're going to get the slopified version of
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
because they're going to see it. Now that assumes this movie even manages to make
Right.
money, which I don't think it's going to because
This
its
movie?
budget was
I
too high.
believe wholeheartedly on judging movies on their own merits. So, like, we can look at it in context, sure, but yeah, like, it needs to stand on its own.
Yeah.
But that's the
but
problem.
also
Is
you
most
have to
people are not.
imagine-
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, you just also have to imagine like the industry, right? Like I was in Hollywood for a while, not in any kind of like significant position, but I was around these people for a long time, and the tenor of like the vibe is really important in Hollywood. Like there's no kind of contradictory thinking. Like everyone has like the same impression,
Yeah,
and
monolithic,
you know
yeah.
what it is, and you have to repeat it, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that goes all the way up. But if the vibe is like, oh, some of these things that aren't like a message or aren't, aligned with, aren't, what was that? One battle after another. If they're not that, but people are liking them and making money, and it's acceptable. Well, then it's like you're kind of breaching the wall a little bit. You're allowing a little bit of that thinking in there, and then maybe you can push more through. So from my perspective, I think it's better to embrace something that's entertaining, not slop, not like the Mario movies. I think those are fucking. I watched the first one and I was like, this is what everyone's crazy about. This is awful.
Matt, I have a
but
question.
something like this, I think, is actually great, and we should encourage it.
Matt, as a
just
Hollywood
the-
boy, do you
just
think
the-
this is queer coded? This movie?
No, I hated that they were saying that, but
There's
no,
a rainbow right
don't.
here. That's a rainbow.
That's not a
Just-
rainbow.
Look at him.
Just to
Look at him.
Brahma's point, and I have to go back to
Look,
what Goodwin was saying.
Everyone would fuck Ryan Gosling. I mean, it's
Exactly.
Like, what are you
It's
gonna
true.
do?
It's true.
You know?
But like it's
doesn't
it's-
make you gay.
when we reward them when they're on the right path, they don't actually learn the lesson. So it's hard to want to reward them when they're on the right path. quote
Totally
unquote. Like,
understand that.
Yeah.
a great example is last year with Marvel, because like the woke stuff was kind of becoming a big downer. So literally every release that Disney had, they edited to shit so that it was just basically barely passable slop with no substance whatsoever. And we're supposed to reward that because, oh, it didn't push anything in my face. But what are we gonna now? We're just getting a new era of slop where they're
But this
recasting
isn't-
people.
But this isn't that. I did think this movie was great for what it was. I can stand there and recognize its objective flaws, like the ones I just argued for an hour.
Mhm.
And I also agree with the more like Copa did a good review where he talked about some of the pacing. And I remember, and he's like talking about you're looking at your watch, not as a bad way, but you're like, is it over? And I had that exact experience in the cinema. I don't think this movie's flawless, but I loved it. So it's like, I don't think this, I understand your point. Like, what were those movies that came out, like Mickey 17 or like a few of these slop movies that weren't necessarily offensive, but they weren't good. They weren't even
They were safe almost.
Yes. This is not that. I thought this was a huge leap forward for movies.
I actually
loved it.
disagree. I think this movie
I
was
would-
very safe.
I think it's
Oh,
very
okay.
safe as well.
I don't agree, but
You
I
want
can
it?
see why you
Okay,
say
here
that.
I'll explain why. Okay?
Okay.
The plot is super predictable. The performances are nothing to blow out of the water. The
Can you say it was
cinematography.
predictable?
Hold on.
No, but I'm just saying, can you say it was predictable had you not read the book?
I
reading
can.
the
No, I
book, knew
didn't
it was
read the book.
predictable.
Oh, neither one of you read the book before you
I saw the movie first.
Oh,
So
okay.
I read the book, and
Okay.
about 10 pages into the book, I was like, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Oh, I didn't have that experience.
No,
Maybe I'm not
I
as smart
had
as
that
Vex.
experience completely. And when I saw
Maybe
the
I'm
trailer
just a
for
dumber.
when I saw the trailer for this several months ago, I was like, okay, I know exactly where this is going as well, right? So the
No, I
plot
didn't
was
feel that way.
the plot was very predictable. I don't think that this did anything revolutionary for film. Like, oh, we're not using CGI. Okay, great. Film was doing that for literally 120 years before. So there's
Yeah.
nothing amazing there. They don't
But
choose
you know
any
what?
interesting.
It
hold
didn't
on,
look
hold on,
like
hold on.
shit. Okay, sorry.
Hold on. They didn't choose any very interesting or fascinating camera angles. There's no interesting color grading or even use of color. None of these performances are particularly great. There's no heavy thematic weight that makes me think, oh, this is a different space exploration or saving the earth type movie. Like everything about this film is so incredibly safe. It is the most palatable sci-fi movie I think I've ever seen.
I think that's fair, but I also think a lot of that's coming from someone who like studies films. And there has to be
That's
something
fair.
to be, there's something to be said for that. It's like, there's a difference between when you're constantly engrossed in movies and you understand all these nuances and you have like a rich library of history that you understand that like not most people have. It's like the girl I took to this movie, like she's like, I don't really like sci-fi. And I was like, I think you're going to like this one. And she loved it, so it's kind of like, you also have to take into account that you're an expert in a way that most people are not. So it's
Like I loved it.
I
And
hear
to
what you're
Vex's
saying.
point, it did not break new ground. I loved it, but yeah, it's not like the Second Coming.
it didn't try and fail though. Like this is the movie they wanted to make, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I thought the visuals, in fact, really improved them. I liked the movie more than the book. And I
don't know yet. I'm liking the book so far.
I didn't like the book, but I thought the movie was better, but they're still kind of on.
I think each one of them has weaknesses, and so it's which again, if you've read the book and watched the movie, if you kind of mash the two together, you get a better experience. I still don't think
it lives in the end.
I'm kind of glad I saw the movie first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I did, and so the book, I was like, all right,
can
at
I
least covers up some of that bullshit plot.
Can I be honest, Goodwin? Like the book is also really safe. Like
so safe. That's why I didn't like it.
I didn't like the way it was written. That was my biggest gripe. But the other thing too is that it's written like literally every other book has been written for the last 10 years. So there's no actual style and kind of
no, it's so digestible.
Yeah, creativity in the writing. Yeah. And it just feels like for so much of the book, instead of actually developing the character and doing something kind of thematically interesting, the Andy Weir is just trying to fill pages. And I think it's almost 500 pages. Project Hail Mary.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty big Twinkie, but I think
it doesn't read that long. Like you burn through it,
right? Because again, it's just verbal diarrhea for a lot of it. But the other thing is, I'm sick of people calling this guy like a great hard sci-fi writer. He's not. He's a pop culture sci guy, normie, who decided to write some stuff.
He respects science, though. You have to give him that.
He respects scientism. He doesn't. He doesn't
You're
really get like
sci-fi. The Diet Coke of sci-fi.
It's the Diet Coke. It's the Diet Coke of hard sci-fi. But I've read some hard sci-fi, and it can get brutal.
Sure, but if you ever read, if you're going to say, you know what, I'm the pop culture version of that. I'm the diet version. That's fine. That's not what he says.
That's
not how he's presented.
Well, that's how.
That's not what he's billed as.
But who gives a shit what they say? You know what I mean? Like they say a lot of things. It's like I read. Did you ever read the book Red Mars?
No.
It's so hard sci-fi. It's brutal, man. It's like, it's a chore because the guy is so good at the science of like what life on Mars could potentially be, like what it'd like to have an establishment and a civilization. And he like ties in some politics, which is actually kind of compelling. But it's so dry, man.
Just to answer Rick Costa's, I would say if you want to read it, go ahead and read it. But like as someone that reads a lot, I was able to skim about a third of this book and not miss anything.
I would say if you haven't read Altered Carbon Book 1 or Hyperion, do those first. Because like this is fine, but
it's about 8,000 books.
It's not remarkable science fiction, but those books those are the ones that I just like. I would tell anyone who's interested in sci-fi, even mildly,
what
to
was
read
the
those
first
books.
one, Matt?
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon.
I adore. I love those books.
I love the first season of the Netflix show.
Oh, you will love the book.
Yeah.
If you liked, even kind of liked the show, like the book is a masterpiece.
Yeah, I would tell you, pick up anything written by Neil Stephenson. Again, there's very hard science that's going on, along with some pretty interesting story. Balance as well.
What's his name?
Neil Stephenson.
I wouldn't necessarily
so what's this
recommend
Goodwin?
reading the other two Altered Carbon books. They're fine, but they're not.
But the first one for sure.
Oh my God.
The first one is something special, like for real.
It's unreal. It's such a good like detective noir story, and it's also such a great world that he's created, and it's the sci-fi that he's like built into it is relentless and so like unique and distinct, and he doesn't slow down to like let you kind of grasp it. He just keeps moving.
I may have legitimately reread that more than any book in my collection here. Like that's how much I like going back to it.
And the author for that is Richard Morgan.
Yeah, that's Richard Morgan.
Okay, all right. I have a notes list where I add all these books that I'm supposed to read. So
yeah, those are just fun. I mean, those are those books that just like read themselves. Where you can't put it down. You know. Hyperion, the Hyperion Cantos, as it's called. There's Hyperion, the Fall of Hyperion, and there's like a third one that's a little floofy. But those first two are.
Gotcha.
I'd agree with Brahma. Three Body Problem, the book, not that Netflix series, is pretty good.
I couldn't get 10 minutes into that show. It was so bad.
Don't worry, it gets worse.
I was like, no, not going to happen.
I would say it's like episode 2, I think, that has the Cultural Revolution. That's worth watching.
Yeah, just like reading Project Hail Mary, because the book got so much praise and there was hype building for the movie. I was really expecting it to be like a page turner that I couldn't put down. And like I started, like it took me 2 weeks to read it. And even my husband was like, is that not a good book? Because it's taking you a while to get through it.
I mean, I've definitely been enjoying it, but yeah, it's not like blowing my hair back.
It starts with promise. I found the first half much more enjoyable than the second half. Like,
well, I'm just getting ready to start the second half.
Yeah.
Well, we have to wrap this show up, you people.
Indeed.
I said I was going to stay for 15 minutes for 3 hours.
I was going to say that. I was going to say
it's inflation. Inflation's killing us all back.
My husband is waking up for work while we were live.
Perfect.
Damn.
Well,
have him kill the cockroach this time.
It was so awesome having you back on, though, Vex. I love that. I love your takes.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me on.
Yeah, you were great on here.
Oh, thank you. I like discussing movies. So
she's always great. Really.
I don't know. She was pretty shit on that Predator trivia thing. That was.
Listen. I can explain. Okay,
Mhm,
I'm a woman.
Mhm.
That's true. I can confirm.
Yeah.
Anything you doing this week? You want to promote at all, Vexy?
I'm supposed to. There will be a video at some point this month on my channel. That's all I'm going to promise.
Okay, that's a big promise. Miss your morning streams.
I know. I just between travel and then I got a lot of commission work these first 4 months of the year, so that just kind of took priority. But they're coming back.
Champagne
I just got
problems.
Yeah, champagne problems. Yeah, they're coming back. I'm hopefully I fly back to Canada this coming weekend, so maybe next weekend we'll.
Boo, Canada.
I know we'll get, but yeah, that's the other thing is like
Sorry.
my New Year's resolution was to get my own channel back on track, and it's been 4 fucking months. So I need to get a video out this month. It's my goal.
Let's go.
You got
Fuck
it.
yeah.
You get it. Well, you're high demand, Vex. What can you do when you're this good?
Thank you. I know, like I'm just like God has like totally blessed me. Like it's awesome.
He didn't bless you that much. He made you cover Project Hail Mary. So
right, that's true. And he made me brown and Canadian and a woman. So
yeah.
3 strikes. Goodwin, where are you tomorrow?
Nowhere. I mean, other than modding drinkers. Friday though, I believe Niet's show will be back. And,
awesome.
Nice.
Might have some fun with that.
Cool. Do you know what you're covering? Any idea?
I think it's going to be the pop culture.
Cool.
Pop culture news, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to have.
We're under change of titles, so
we're under an NDA as well for now. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
That's a NIOT disclosure agreement.
Fancy.
No, the E stands for another word we can't say on YouTube.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
It ends with a hard ER though.
That's right.
That's
right.
One of my favorites.
Matthew, are you streaming tomorrow?
I am streaming tomorrow. Yes, the Ever for podcast. Every Tuesday, sometimes Thursdays. If you want to get into a deep dive on modern politics, that's what I'm doing. That's how I've pivoted. I've adjusted. That's what I do now. Yeah. Yesterday, I talked all about. Well, it's funny because I had this whole show planned about like Trump's derangement, not the syndrome, just how much he seems crazy, and then. Yeah. The ceasefire got announced literally right as I started streaming. So then I pivoted the entire show and talked about that for the most part. But I think tomorrow I'll be talking about the fallout of that. I haven't paid attention to the news much, except a little bit in this morning where I saw that didn't really look like it worked for that long. I don't know what's going on.
Shocking.
I hope it's held. But I will certainly be talking about that tomorrow. So check out the MFR podcast. I have had some good guests on recently. I had a few these like Gen Z right wingers. This guy Tom Foe and Right Wing Coalition. Nice. A few other people too. But watch those episodes because they're less timely and more just about like political philosophy. So if you haven't checked them out, I would recommend it because they're great conversations. The type of conversations where like I'm sitting in it and I'm like, oh, I would watch this for sure if it wasn't.
I much prefer that type of political content where you have the deep kind of philosophical foundational conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the pop, like the what's going on in the moment can't not come up, but I appreciate the sort of more like conceptual, like why you think this. You know,
Well, I think
this
it's
came
definitely
from.
more rewarding even to listen to.
Right.
Than,
Yeah.
Well, it's also evergreen content because
Yeah.
again, nobody watches videotapes of the news from 2 years ago.
Like, you know, even people I like, when I watch like an old podcast of them talking about the news from like a month or two ago, I'm like, oh, you idiot. So much has happened. So
Your
many things have changed
prognostications were
since
total
then.
shit.
Or just, you know, like you don't know what happened to her. Like, you know, I'm like looking at them like as if I'm looking at them now. But anyway, yeah, those podcasts are really cool. I recommend that. And, you know, like I do it. I try to do it at least twice a week. You know, talking about the news, talking about politics from a relatively hard right wing perspective. So come check it out.
How hard right wing are we talking?
Pretty
support
hard.
for the KKK.
No, those guys are retards.
Okay, so you're
No.
not that hard right wing. Okay, false advertising.
I mean, he's flaccid, but there's some tumescence. That's
It's like it's hard, but it probably needs a little blue chew.
yeah. It
You
could
know
probably
what I
use a little
mean?
blue pill and maybe all right to get it full mass.
You know, to get it really up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
He
no.
doesn't like the Jews, but he loves the blacks. So, you know,
Oh, that's
it's a
not
mix.
right
I
wing at
just
all.
think the blacks have a
It's a mix.
unique position in American history. That's all. It's not about that.
That's right.
They're- you know, don't you like hip hop? I do.
He says we have to
Oh,
contend with this.
cotton. Big fan of cotton. It's
Yeah.
Yes. Who doesn't like cotton?
exactly
That's right.
it's the fabric
Jake?
of our lives.
Jake?
I do not have anything scheduled coming up, but maybe in the near future, get to appear with the tinfoil haters if they'll have me, or come back here perhaps. So just anywhere, you know, a port in any storm, I reckon.
Well, thanks for joining us, dude. And if you ever want to do stuff, let us know on your channel.
Yeah,
what about the
dude,
Jewish
I am always game. It's super fun to come on here and get to talk about this stuff with you guys.
It's nice to stream with you as well. I think this is the first time I've streamed with you, Jake.
Yeah, I know. And I was stoked to have you here, Jay. It's like I feel like I know everybody, so like there's a level of you know comfortability there, and
Yeah, it's Big Daddy Jake. I mean, we know. It's that's how it rolls, man.
I'm the guy.
It's all right.
Right. It translates well to the show too. So
Is that cartoon Peter Venkman?
I think so. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
but what about Sammy Davis Jr.? Matt, what do you think?
Yes.
Like I
He's the-
said, unique
perfect
position
man.
in American history.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
You know what I'm
More you-
watching right now, by the way, is Zach, I have something to tell you, but
Yeah.
I'm watching the John Adams show on HBO.
Yeah.
You guys ever watch that?
Oh yeah,
No.
That's fucking good.
yeah, it's a good show.
Yeah, it's like really like it's about like, you know, our second president, and it's just like the whole like kind of history before the revolution, through the revolution, into his presidency. It's really good. But no, Zach, I was drunk the other night, and I was like looking back at like some of my old streams, like just out of curiosity. I was like, what was I like when I first started streaming? You know, I
Yeah.
just like clicked on some randomly.
Liberal gay boy.
Yeah, liberal gay boy.
Yeah.
No, but and then I saw you in the chat on like
Yeah.
the 10th 20th stream I ever did. Like it was like in the first few months you were there.
I love
And I
your
was like-
streams. I still do.
I know, but I was like, holy shit, like it's been that long. I mean, it's been like 6 years. That's like fucking crazy.
It is. It's wild. It's good to see people like Jake joining too, jumping in.
Yeah. But I just like obviously I've known you for like
Yeah.
you know, it feels like a while, but it was just like damn, it was from that long ago. Like holy shit, dude. Like from the jump.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
cool.
And like Vidge was right there with you too. And he's a guy who like I've borrowed so much of his ideas and used them and like
To
did
much
well with-
greater success.
Yeah. And but like I still watch this. I still watch
No,
his
I mean
streams
we
and
love Vidge. That's
Yeah.
nothing against him.
I'd
It's
love to have
just-
him on, but
yeah.
he won't come on.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. He always bitched to me. He never liked the panel streams whenever we did the cocktail lounge. I don't know if I'm
Right.
talking out of school here, but he just never liked it. It was too much like in talking, you know. I think he prefers at least one-on-one or something. So
Brahma was there early too. We were
yeah. No,
Yeah.
but I just like seeing like you
Yeah.
specifically in the chat on like one of the early Expanse streams. I was just like, whoa, like it's like it's hard to place these things in history, but that was like month 4 or 5.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like I was like, holy shit, dude. Fucking A, man. It was just cool. It was just like cool to clock that.
chilling with the dildo.
And such a
What?
dildo, of course, yeah.
Scented dildo.
Attention.
Oh, I thought you were
Sentient.
chilling with a dildo. I
I gotta get in this stream, guys. I've got this dildo I need to mess
Yeah,
around
yeah.
with.
These batteries
big
in the
and
die stand, let's
floppy.
go.
Zach's found him on
Got
OnlyFans.
my dildo on ice.
Yeah, Matt's early OnlyFans streams were
They
must
were
watch.
something.
It was
Oh,
yeah,
they were messy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
jeez. I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about lube
it
yet.
was all about technique. It's really
Foul
the problem.
balls
Yeah.
production.
Yeah, they were pretty foul. Yeah,
I've got to find some of your old stuff, Matt, with your the one where one of your short films where you're outside smoking. There's that one, right?
That's
Is that
still
what you're-
there. That's still up. Yeah.
Is that what you're?
I unlisted
Gigolo?
all those old streams because I thought, I don't know if this was accurate, but like, I understood that maybe they would drag your algorithm down, and I was like, I'm not
Right.
getting any watches on any of this, so I took them all down. But it would be nice to put them all back up because there's something very like romantic about those like early days.
Yeah, and the Ruben stuff would be a gold mine.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Some of that I don't know if I would ever want to see. Those drunken nights got wild.
But yeah, it's a good time.
It was a great time.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, people. Be back on Saturday with the jerks. In the meantime, go check out Project Hail Mary if you haven't seen it yet. It's good. I like it.
I loved it.
So even though
Make up your own opinion. Like,
Yes.
regardless of what we say.
Yes.
Don't listen to these two chuds.
make up your own opinion and agree with me. That's the important part at the very end.
I think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna have fun. Even all the flaws that we detailed.
it's worth
I-
watching.
I mean, it's so much fun
Definitely.
to watch. It's
Take
great.
the time.
It's exciting.
Can I make one more hot take about it? Just
Yeah.
Before we leave. Okay, I don't understand the IMAX hype because there was nothing like uber visually stunning in this movie worth the price of an IMAX ticket.
Glad I saved the money. I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't see it on IMAX either. So
We saw it in a regular theater, and I was waiting for the moment where it's just like, okay, what scenes was I supposed to go and see in IMAX? And I was like, oh, none. Okay.
It must be like all the stuff on the planet because the visuals of that were spectacular. They were so.
It
Maybe-
wasn't
maybe-
IMAX worthy though.
Maybe it's
Whatever.
when Grace is playing
Yeah.
Pac-Man, trying to avoid Rocky's ship, and
Maybe it's all
physics
those
got
That must
turned
be
off.
it.
That was-
5-second jump cuts in the first hour. That was meant for IMAX. I
Man.
guess.
Look, I was in the first few minutes of that movie. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this.
Dude,
not
I was getting
convinced.
whiplash in the first few
Oh,
because of
it
the
was
editing,
exhausting.
man.
I know it was exhausting. And then it was like, and they'd cut to something where you could barely see what was going on, like, and it
No.
was out of focus. It was like this artistic focus choice, but it was like, what's happening? And then they're cut, and you're like, I'm drained already. This just started.
Mm-hmm.
It's still good though. Go see it.
I almost asked about Dune, but we're gonna end the show instead. So
Dune.
Dune.
What
Yeah,
about
Dune's
Dune?
Oh, the new Dune.
the new
It's
Dune.
coming out.
Real
Yeah.
quick, what about Dune?
What's your take on Dune, Vex?
I haven't read the books yet.
It's a 9.5 out of 10, and I hate it.
Oh, okay. I haven't read the books yet. I enjoyed the first film. I would
Yeah.
give the first film like a 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I thought the second film was like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10, maybe. I could tell that without reading the books, they were they had taken a lot out of the story, or there were things that they were admitting from the story because the plot just wasn't vibing there. It felt like too many things were going on and they were all disjointed. So
it's so funny. I love Van Venue, whatever his name is. Like some like I
Denis
loved
Villeneuve.
Arrival. I thought was fantastic, and I loved Enemy. The weird.
I find
like,
he's a
art-
highly overrated director. If I'm
But then
honest.
there's other movies where I'm just like, this guy stinks. Like it's like the other. It's like there's like two. Like I don't understand how he's so different.
I think
from
it's
the
when he
movie.
teamed up with Piss Filter, and the two of them can never not be together and fuck off.
You know what it is? It's, I find Denny is just like he's a very safe and palatable director. I think is what I feel like he mimics a lot of what Nolan does. So people think that Denny must be a good director too, but even Nolan kind of has his flaws as a director if you
Yeah.
really pay attention to his
Yes, he
If
films.
you
does.
gave me a blind choice and you said watch a Denis Villeneuve movie or a Chris Nolan movie, I'd pick Denis anytime because I hate Christopher Nolan.
Really?
Yeah,
No
I
shit.
I hate his writing. I find him tedious. I just think he lies. Like he lies, like with his storytelling.
Deus
He
Ex
does. He really
Machina.
does.
Yeah.
No, I was just
Vegeta.
saying, Denny doesn't have as big a filmography, and I feel like the only one that I would openly recommend to anyone is Prisoners, and even then, it feels like it's more mimicry
Paint by
than his
numbers.
own style.
Yeah, it's not exactly like. But then he made at the same time when he was doing Prisoners, he made this weird art film called Enemy that I adored. I thought it was just so remarkable. Now I have an affinity for some of those movies, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone. But it was one of these movies that I was like,
No Arrival.
what?
Love.
I was so curious, like what was that? Like that, and it made me like want to know more about the story he was trying to tell in the subtext, almost like a David Lynch movie. You know, when you watch that and you're like, you don't quite get
Is
it,
this
but
the
what-
history professor one?
No, it's about a guy who like just finds out that there's like an exact twin of him in the city.
Yeah, and one of them is a history professor.
Oh, is that right? I don't remember.
With Jake
I probably
Gyllenhaal,
saw
right?
it like yeah. I probably saw it like
Okay,
15
I
years
did
ago.
enjoy that film. Okay,
I thought it was awesome. And then the ending was just like, what was that? Whoa. It was like, it just left so much to like understand and
Right.
interpret. Like,
I
and
wouldn't
kinda like
recommend that
movies
to
like
everyone because it's
No.
so
Because
yeah,
it's
there's a lot to
demanding.
unpack. Yeah.
Yeah, it's demanding. It's like a Lynch film. It's just kind of like you have to work to understand what he's trying to say. And that's not for everybody. But for me, sometimes I love it.
I got you. No, I'm the same way as well.
Sicario. No love.
Great. Love Sicario. Sicario 1 is fantastic. Sicario
Yeah.
2 is such shit. But the first
I've never
one's
even
amazing.
seen Sicario 2, but yeah,
Oh,
I got
it's-
first one.
Did you
is
see The
amazing.
Mandalorian? You saw Sicario too. It's
Great.
just fucking Baby Cub and Wolf. It's just the same shit.
Yeah, pass.
Oh, it's a girl now. We gotta save her. It's so boring.
All
But the
right.
first
Well,
one's
people, we're saying goodnight. We'll send you off with a blast and then some love. Let's go. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Thank you, panel. Thank you, chat. You guys have been great.
Please
And,
stand for our national
yes,
anthem.
let's stand.
Respect to the trans community. And fuck you, transphobes.
Trans people are my friends. Transphobes come catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect them for we're going in. Trans people are my friends. Transphobes come catch these hands. Trans people are my friends. So respect them for we're going in. Transphobes, show your fucking mouth. I'll knock you out. I'll knock you out. Transphobes, show your fucking mouth. I'll knock you out. You better watch out. Trans people are my friends. Transphobes, come catch these